Hello, everyone. I'm just waiting for a few more people to join in, and I will start shortly.
Thank you. How are you?
Very good, very good. Alhamdulillah, doing good.
Good to know.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you. Okay, welcome assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Majbeen. So guys, everyone, let's start. So let's start with a quick warm-up exercise. Let's log into our portal and create one Windows and Linux VM. So this is just to create, so I'm gonna log in to portal. Once you're logged into portal, just let me know in the chat window. And please log in with the IAM account. So I'm going to quickly go inside EC2 and create two instances, one for Windows, one for Linux. So this is just to, I'm just waiting for a few more people to join in. In the meantime, I'll just create two VMs. For the Linux VM, add the Bootstrap image, Bootstrap commands, make it a web server right from the start, please. So, welcome, salam, Riyadh. What we are doing, everyone, we are just creating two VMs, one Windows VM and one Linux VM. Please log into the portal using the IAM account. And and for the Linux machine, use the Bootstrap script. And there are errors with the Bootstrap script. Please fix the errors and add it to the Bootstrap text box. So when there are errors in the Bootstrap script, then you won't be able to, these commands won't run and you won't be able to make it a web server. So if you're looking at the screen, everyone, uh, on the screen you are looking at, on the screen you're looking at the Bootstrap script. I've copied that script in the chat window, so please fix on your own. and make sure that it is a web server at the end. Shakil is asking for Canadian number. Let me just get it for you. So Ajmal, you're saying you tried my script 5 times and it never worked? Oh, come on, Ajmal. No, don't say that. Come on. Okay, where's the Canadian number? So,
I tried more than 5 times. And one time I write down like I what manually I type it the yum install and then start service, but no, I was not able to.
okay, I'll show you. There must be problems with your script. So Zoom number Canada.
Because script is nothing, it's just a yum install, yum update install httpd. I even manually I can, once I log into the server manually I can install, but from the from the from the deployment from the console I was not able to do that.
Right, right, right. So Ajmal, there will be. I'll show you where it is done. Just a second. Let me give our friend some Canadian numbers here. So these are Canadian numbers to dial in.
By the way, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you so much. Alhamdulillah. Going good.
Alhamdulillah.
So Shakil, these are the numbers. You just need a code that is in the invite.
Adnan bhai, do we have to use the IAM or the root user?
I am. I am.
Okay.
Always use I am. Okay, so guys, I'm creating that Linux machine in the first few minutes here. So as you can see on the screen, you can see that there is the Bootstrap script is right here. Just make sure, just make sure that everything is in small case. So here it says it's just very simple commands: yum update y, meaning that I need to update this Linux instance. Number two, yum install the HTTPD, which is the web service. And the third one is service HTTPD start, just to make sure that the service is configured to be auto start at the end. So if you can copy these 4 commands, Ajmal, in your Bootstrap script, it should never miss out being a web server. So it will definitely be a web server. So I copied the script. So all you need to do is just create a Linux machine, and nothing else is required other than there are ports that needs to be open, port 80, so that we can test that out at the end.
Okay, let me try one more time.
So the only reason why it shouldn't run, why it shouldn't be a web server, if there is a problem with the command. So we fixed the problem with the command. You should be able to fix the problems with the command, and it should be all good. Okay, so I'm gonna just create a new pair key for today, and that is so key is here. I think most of us are already expert in creating instances and working with them. So I just started creating 2 instances, just waiting for everyone to join in. And so this instance is going on. And at the same time, do I need a Windows EC2 instance? So for today's lab, I don't need a EC2 instance. Since everyone is here, let's begin with the lecture. But if you have created Windows VM and you have already created Linux VM, that is excellent. So guys, from the last lecture, what we covered in the last lectures from So from day one, we discussed the cloud in general. We talked about the certification. We compared it with the Azure cloud. With day two, we started working with IAM user and configured different options for security. We also configured the MFA account as well. On day three, we talked about regions and availability zone. We worked on EC2 instance, and the assignment was to create a EC2 instance of Linux and configure connectivity with PuTTY client. And we also worked with Snapshot and EBS. So guys, other than that, we have now 11 videos in the lab. So 11 videos in the lab. If I would say that please for in order to become an expert, we need everything needs to be practical. Without practical, these things, cloud is really it's like what should I compare it with? A slippery fish. You have a fish in the hand, but it's of no use if it gets out. So cloud without practical is exactly that situation. Cloud without practical, because you can explain that in the interviews. You can talk about EC2 instance, Linux instance, Bootstrap. You can talk about a lot of things, but without practical, it's nothing. So today we are, so for that reason, please complete all the, I think 12 videos. So there are 12 and there is 13th coming. And this week there will be more videos on S3. And those are small videos, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I would say if you can do that in at least 3 times those videos, one by following the video, and 2 times without following the video, without looking at the video, that will be excellent. And the portal is changing all the time. So be ready to be ready to work on maybe new technologies, changed images, but the main technology remains the same for the last 10 years. So S3 is exactly the S3 storage that I saw 10 years back, and then all of the other services are exactly the same. It's just the interface that keeps on changing. It will confuse you a bit, but everyone understand that in the industry. So if even if you are an expert, you might need some time in order to configure few services. Okay, so today we are going in depth of S3, which is a simple storage service, security groups, Glacier, S3 bucket lab. We will be going through cross-region replication, lifecycle management, and S3 bucket static website. Now, this is a lot of content that we need to go through. So Ashish is asking one VM and one Windows and one Linux. Yeah, just create one Linux and one Windows VM. Once Linux VM is created, just make sure that your Bootstrap script is working by just testing, by just going through by just testing it out. So I'll just test it out right here since. So it's still initializing, or maybe it is initialized. I can refresh this. No, it is still initializing. Once it is initialized, then we can test that out, that if our Bootstrap script was run and it's a web server now. Okay. So S3 storage, guys. First of all, what is storage? I think we started that in the end of the last lecture, and just one week missed in this lecture seems like ages. It's like too far apart. This class, my other classes are like in the week, so it doesn't feel like that. But okay, so we'll try to cover that. We'll try to cover that. Yes. Ajmal, you have a question?
First time it worked with the capital service HTTPD start
Come on,
command.
Ajmal. Come on, man.
Come on.
You're a veteran in this. You're a
Believe me, I deployed 10 times last night.
you deployed 10
Adnan,
times. Yes, please go ahead.
so you ask us, sorry to interrupt you. So you ask
No,
us
no
to
problem.
do Linux and Windows 2 is new instance, right?
Yes. So it was just in the beginning because I was waiting for people to join in, just for a warm up exercise. Yes.
And then do that command that you gave it to us, copy in
Ex-
both of them, correct?
exactly. Yes.
And then sit back, relax for the next command.
And yeah, then just we'll learn new services today.
Thank you.
Okay. And so my question to everyone, since everyone is joined here, and my question to everyone is, how many of you were able to finish all of the videos that are posted in the lab? So maybe you can type in the chat 1, 2, 5, out of 11, how many videos you have finished?
What? All the videos.
So Sheikh said 3, Riaz said 11 all, and Shakil said 12. And so Muhammad Sheikh said 3 and 7 watched all of the videos. Okay, very good. Rabia 7 and
Adnan, we
yes.
watched all the videos, but the lab we did not 12, we did 8.
What do you mean?
Like I did. I'm sorry, not
Okay.
we.
Okay. Okay, no problem. So guys, here the reason that I'm asking this question is because lab completing the lab is part of the training. Completing the lab is part of the training. We cannot do all of the labs here in because there are so many concepts to understand, and so you need to spend time at home and become an expert. So in order to complete the custom lab that I will provide at the end. So at the end of this training, I will provide you with a custom lab. And if if you have not gone through all of the videos, and honestly, if you, honestly, going through the video means that you need to complete the video, following the video. I think the instructions are very straightforward. You just need to, and maybe in some videos I've troubleshooted as well a little bit. But please complete the video this week, all of the videos. And there will be more videos. Again, without practical cloud technology is nothing. So this is very, very important. So in the next week, I will definitely come up with quizzes for the previous chapters, and that will be all from the labs. Okay, so first of all, guys, today we are learning about storage, and storage is a very, very important technology. Storage, no cloud can exist without a storage. So storage in general, what is storage in general? In general, storage is where you store something. And in AWS, just like any other technology, there is different type of storages available. The different type of storages that are available are these. So there is something called Amazon S3 storage. Secondly, it's a Glacier storage. Third is EBS storage, and fourth is EFS storage. In our normal in a physical data center, all of these storages we have worked with. So if you've been working in IT technology, if you're working even on your laptop, you are aware of all these storages. So EBS storage is basically a C drive in our laptop. So the laptop that we use, it has a C drive. So EBS is that storage. So I'm just gonna so here this is internal. This is internal disk that is used only with EC2 instance. So always remember, EBS storage is not used with anything. It is a block level storage. It's only used with EC2 instance. And S3 is like a external drive. So it's like a external drive that is used. External drive, like it's like an external disk that we used with our laptop. So in other words, if you can remember it with a USB drive that we use, so that will be a good remembering that this is. So S3 is an external disk. EBS is an internal disk and is only used for EC2 instances. So EBS is not a disk. So both are disks basically. And what is a disk? Disk is a place where you can store something. So in a laptop, we have internal disk, and in this disk, we have operating system. And then we store our important documents or maybe any other type of files within external disk, which is known as a USB drive. So these are two different type of disks that we use on a laptop, and this is exactly what S3 is and EBS is. So the big difference between EBS and S3 is that it's a block level storage and S3 is an object level storage. So block level storage meaning that everything will be stored in this in equal shapes of blocks of information. So it will be equal shapes of blocks of information. It could be 512 MB of a block, 512 MB 512 MB of a block, or maybe it is 2 MB of, or maybe it is 2048. And so there are different block sizes. I mean, that is not important to know because there are many different type of, this is automatically handled in the backend. But the important thing is that in EBS, everything is stored in the shape of equal size of blocks. And this makes it faster to read and write from the disk because the processors know where to get the information from, and there are many other advantages. You need a fast storage. So essentially, block level storage is fast storage, whereas S3 is a fast storage as well, but it's not as fast as the block level storage. But so here we need to remember that EBS, this is the disk that is attached to the EC2 instance. It's an internal disk. It's only used in EC2 instances. And S3, that today what we are going to cover, is basically an external disk, and it is used as a USB. So you can remember that. You can remember EBS store. You can remember that in here. You can remember with the USB drive and a OS drive. So then the next two is what is Glacier and what is EFS. So. And Ajmal is asking a question, what is S3IA? I'm going to cover that, Ajmal, shortly. So this is in another slide. So here, let's understand first the basics. First of all, so guys, here we have 4 types of disk. And what I am saying that we have already worked on these disks. All we need to know is to remember the technology, is to remember the terminology. So EBS is internal disk, which is internal to a laptop, where your operating system is. S3 is an external disk. It is used as an external disk. You can remember that with a USB. Whatever we can do with the USB, we do it with S3 disk. So what can we do with the USB? We store our extra files on USB. We also store movies. We also store different type of files, all types of files within USB, personal files, official files, and everything that you can do with a USB or an external drive. It is S3. So today we are going to learn S3. Now, the other 2 types of storage is known as Glacier and EFS, and these 2 disks we have also worked with. Now, Glacier is that USB that you have stored for last 10 years. So all of us, including me, I have 2 USBs, or maybe 3 or 4 USBs, but only one USB is the most active USB. So the most active USB, I keep it in my laptop bag, and in that USB, I have all my latest content that I use, but still it is an external drive. But there are some other USBs that are sitting there that has my last 10 years files, probably family pictures, different documents, and the files that I don't use every day. Those files are also in an external drive, and it is also in a USB, but those files are known as archived files. So that type of files that we don't use, but we still need to keep them, it goes into Glacier. It is still a disk. It is still, Glacier is still a disk, but it is used for archival storage for infrequently accessed data. So this is infrequently accessed data. Now, Glacier is also like a USB drive, but so you store your files that are not frequently used. So we all have those types of USBs lying around at home here and there. You have a USB that you use every day. You have a USB that you use that you don't use, but your files are still there. So that is known as Glacier. Now, what is the big difference? The big difference is here, this is expensive. So this is expensive. So S3 is expensive, whereas Glacier is is really cheap. It's really cheap. So there are two other versions of Glacier as well, but here we are just trying to understand, here we are just trying to remember just the four basic type of storage that is available in AWS. So number one is EBS, which is internal disk. S3 is an external disk, and Glacier is that USB. It is also an external disk, but it's that disk that we don't use every day. It is just keeping our old data with us so that we can retrieve we can retrieve those files whenever it is required. Now, and EFS is elastic file system. So elastic file system is used, it's a file storage for use for Amazon EC2. So it is an elastic file storage. So here Amazon EFS. So Amazon EFS is basically, it is a shared file system that is used between two instances. So this one is let's say for EC2 instance, for an EC2 instance, if you need to connect to a shared file system, then we use elastic file system, which is EFS, and I'm going to go into more detail later on. But for here, this is a elastic file system. So EBS is EC2, which is internal disk, and S3 is basically external disk. So this is an external disk, and this is an external disk too. So then what is the difference between S3 and EFS? So this is considered as an external disk as well. But then what is the difference between S3 and EFS? Guys, S3 and EFS is basically considered, if you can, so this is just a shared drive between two instances. Let's say I have two servers, I have two web servers. So one web server is sitting in, let's say, Sydney, and another web server sitting in New York, and they both need to use same content. They both need to, so on both of the on both of the server, there is a website, and that website use same content, so that content can be stored in one location so that both can access. Now, why would you need to store them in the same place? Why? Because it is easier to update the website. So this place, this EFS instance, both of these servers will be connected to one location, or maybe 10 servers connected to one location. All you need to do, just update in one place, and this will be updated on all the websites. So EFS is a file storage for EC2 instances. So EFS is that. So how many types of storage do we know of? We have four types of storage we know of. Number one, S3, external disk. Glacier is for archive. EBS is for internal disk, and EFS is a shared drive. It's just a shared drive. It is connected between different EC2 instances. Now here, again, the same thing here. This is for Amazon EFS is a file server. Is for files, whereas Amazon EBS and instance storage. And if you so instance store, there is another EC2 instance that you can create inside from EC2 instances. So these both type of stores is block level store, whereas Amazon S3 and Glacier are object level store. Now, what is the big difference between object and block level store? It's just the difference is that block level store is always faster than object level store, and EBS is only for EC2 instances. And object level store, why is it called object level store? Because within this store, you can store all types of objects, all types of unstructured object. It can you can store different files, You can also store videos, video files, audio files, and then so all different types of small files, large files. But the important thing to remember that each file will be stored as one object. So this is one object, this is one object, and these all objects are of different sizes. Okay, thank you. I thought Riaz, you might have a question. Okay, so this is a big difference between a object and a block level storage. So remember, in a block level storage, all the content or everything is stored in equal shapes, in equal size of memory blocks. So this is equal size of memory blocks here. And then at the end, there will be an indexing file, and everything will be retrieved from this in a fast manner. And with the block level storage, there are some other advantages as well. So so whereas in here, in the object level storage, everything will be stored as as one object. So these are two different type of storages available. Now the block level storage and object level storage, here the store virtually unlimited number of file, maintain file versions, HTTP based interface. Files are distributed in different physical nodes, whereas in block level storage, file is split and stored in fixed block sizes, and capacity can be increased by adding more nodes, and suitable for application which requires high ops and database transactional data. So in general, if you can remember this picture, that object level, that each file is stored as one object, and in blocks, everything is stored in equal sizes. So this makes block level very fast read and write. So IOPS, it gives high IOPS, which is high input output per second, and so everything will be stored in a block. And last time we also discussed a little bit about dedupe, where you don't have to store similar blocks, and you can have pointers there. So so for interview purposes, for discussion purposes in the company, when you're working, always remember block level storages are considered faster storage as compared to object level storage. So you can compare block level storage to SAN. If you know what SAN is in the real environment, SAN is storage area network. It's based on fiber optics, and it's the fastest storage available in a physical or virtual environment. So SAN is so block level storage, SAN is a block level storage. Now, one more thing that maybe that can help you remember the difference between a object level storage and a block level storage. Let's say in an object level storage, I'm copying data from one place to another, one EC2 instance, one disk to another, one EC2 instance to another, or I'm copying that data. Let's say that data file is 2 MB. So I'm copying a 2 MB of data. What happens is it starts copying, and everything is copied to the other disk. As soon as so it will be considered as a successful copy if complete 2 MB is copied. So if complete 2 MB is copied, then it will be considered as a full copy. Whereas in block level storage, it's exactly the same thing. It's exactly the same thing, but it is being copied in equal sizes. So all of the blocks will be copied here, and I'm talking about just 2 MB at the moment. So 2 MB, you don't see any difference. You don't see any difference between both of them. We started copying a file from a block level storage 2 MB file, and as soon as it is copied, it is considered as successful copy. Then your question is, then what is the difference between the block level? Both are 1 MB and everything is copied. Yes, it will be considered as a full copy, guys. So the difference that I wanted to show you is when you copy a large file, very, very large file. Let's say you are started copying a 100 GB file. Now 100 GB file as one object, when it is being copied, it will be considered as a full copy when complete 100 GB is copied, or maybe when complete 500 GB is copied. Let's say it copied 50 GB and the copy was interrupted. If the copy is interrupted at 50 GB, next time when it will start again from 1 GB from the first byte. So it will have to start again and then start copying. And whereas in block level storage, everything is copied in block and everything is basically recorded. So let's say you're copying 100 GB of data in a block level storage and you copied 50 GB. Next time when you start copying, it will start from 50 GB. It doesn't have to start from 1 GB or the first byte, because everything is calculated here, and it precisely knows that which blocks are copied and which blocks are not copied. Whereas in object level storage, this is what makes it slower, because each file is an object. This is what I said, that here, that in object level storage, if it is a video of 4 TB, 4 terabytes, then it is 4 terabytes, one complete object. So, sorry, 4 terabytes, maybe 400 GB or maybe 2 terabytes, or so that video is considered as one object. And once the copy is interrupted, it has to start from the zero again. I'm not sure when is the last time you have seen your disk of your notebook. I'm carrying this machine, this laptop for a while now, and I haven't seen the external disk or internal disk. Internal disk is inside your inside your laptop, and that internal disk has the operating system. So this is what EBS is. So two things to remember: EBS is internal, S3 is external, which is so. Now, keeping that in mind, we're talking about an external disk. So one of the oldest AWS service, it is incredibly widely used, and there are studies that show that it is enterprise-wide application S3 at some point. So these are some of the facts here. Now in object definition, so first of all, we know that it's an object level storage. Secondly, the second thing we need to understand that S3 is, they call it simple storage service. As soon as you activate S3, what it does, it creates a bucket. It creates a bucket. And what is a bucket? Bucket is nothing but a folder. Bucket is nothing but a folder. It's just like a folder that you create on your C drive or D drive or different drives. So, and in this bucket, so bucket is just a folder. They call it bucket, and we know it as a folder. And in this bucket, we can store different type of objects. So now we are learning what is the object definition. Object is a file, arbitrary collection of bytes. So it can be small, it can be big, and given meaning by the application. So given meaning by the application, meaning, so if it is a picture file, it might be used with a website. If it is a video file, it might be used for another content. And examples of objects can be photos, videos, text files, and executable programs. So that can be object, and everything can be object. And always remember that it's an S3 is an object level storage. It's slower than block level storage, but it is still fast. It is still fast. And there is so there is all different types of, there is a slow storage, there is a fast storage as well, but it is not as fast as a block storage. So S3 fundamentals, which is it's first of all, it's an object level storage. Durability through data being spread across different devices and facilities, and the file size is anywhere from 0 to 5 terabytes. So maximum size of object that can be stored in S3 is 5 terabytes, 0 to 5 terabytes. Unlimited storage per account, you can use it unlimited. Files are stored in buckets, and S3 has a flat namespace, which is bucket names must be unique across AWS. And this we already know. That these names, S3 names, needs to be unique. It's just like exactly like blob storage in Microsoft Azure. These names has to be unique. So when you create a S3 name, it has to be unique across the AWS cloud. Because that's a DNS name that is used within AWS. Now, the same name can be used within Azure. So Azure has their own namespace, and AWS has their own namespace. So if you have a similar name in Azure, that can work, but within AWS cloud, it won't work. So that name has to be Then so and the names will be something like this. The first you will have the region, second you will have the you will have Amazon AWS.com. This is your portal. This is the region where you're spending, and this is the file name. This is the file name where you're storing the content. And successful file upload returns HTTP to 200 code. This is for exam purposes. Remember that if you can see that in the log, let's say you uploaded a file or a folder, then the code that will return will be 200 code. HTTP just 200 code. This code means that it was successfully uploaded in the bucket. Then we have object copies are placed across number of devices and facilities. Durability, object consistency, therefore important. Read after write consistency for each object and put, and eventual consistency for overwrite and object put and delete. Now there are two things to remember here. First of all, object consistency. So there are two types of consistency mentioned here: read after write consistency and eventual consistency. Now, the two types of consistency, this is widely used in basically with databases. This is widely used with the databases and developers, but this is the type of guarantee of your data that is provided within S3 cloud. So from this slide, I want you to remember that when we store something in, I want you to, so first of all, what is data consistency? Data consistency, it refers to as that when you copy a data, when you copy something in the bucket, where does it stored, and what is the guarantee that the data will be available for a long period of time? So all the clouds, so all of the clouds, including Azure, AWS, GCP, all the clouds, they provide a guarantee that whatever you store in the cloud, it will be stored. It will store 3 copies of that data. So 3 copies of that data will be stored automatically for you for high availability, and that is that. This defines the consistency. Consistency defines that your data whenever you copy. So what happens when we store data in our laptop? In our laptop data, when we whatever you store in an external drive or external drive, it is stored just once, or maybe it is stored just once. So I created a Word document, let's say in my C drive, or I created a Word document in my USB. It is by default, it is stored just once, unless I keep a copy. I copy that Word document in 3 different folders within my USB or within the C drive. Then I would say, I have 3 copies available of that one file. If one file is corrupted, then the other file is they are available. So this is not a facility that we have in our laptops. If we had to do that manually, uh, we can easily forget to keep the 3 copies. But in cloud, this is what happens. So once you create a file, once we create a bucket and you upload a file, any file within the bucket, that file will be stored will be stored with 3 different copies within the cloud. It will be, one copy will be in one availability zone, and second copy will be in another availability zone, and third copy will be in an third availability zone. So there will be always 3 copies of your data, actually 2 copies in addition to the first copy of your data. So this is what we need to remember, that there will be 3 copies of this data available. Now, S3 is a key value store. And so first of all, there will be a key, there is a key and value store. I will show you once we create the S3 object. And S3 object consists of a key, name of the object, and value, which is the object, which is the number of bytes where it is stored. And then it has a version ID, and it has meta data, which is data about the object. So basically, this metadata is basically saying that, let's say I create a file, it's a data about data. So this is the file that I've created. This file has some size. Let's say the size is 2 MB, and this file is of type, let's say JPG. JPG is the file type, and then the author of the file, whoever created that file, and so on. So these all properties considered as metadata, and the date, the creation date, the modification date. So that all is stored with the object. So the key is the name, value is the number of bytes, or the data, whatever the data you're storing. And then here, version ID, so we can enable version ID as well. And then we have sub resources, which is ACL, so we can apply some security, which is access control list, who can access that file. Um, some other characteristics of S3: designed for 99.99 availability. Here it guarantees 99.9 availability, and AWS guarantees 99.999 11.9 durability. If you have 10,000 objects, you will lose one object every so much of years. So which means that the data that is available in S3 is really durable, available all the time within. So they make sure, I mean, if they would have not provided these guarantees, guys, if they would have not provided these type of guarantees, and this is same across all the cloud providers, if they would have not provided, these companies, these serious companies that are making billions of dollars, they would have not stored their content in this type of storage. So yes, there is a meaning of double nine, there is a meaning for the 19, and there is a meaning for 11 nines. So these all 9 guarantees that data will be stored for, I mean, the example is from 10,000 objects, there is a chance of losing just one object in so much of time, this number of years. So this is already proven. This is already a proven fact, that data that we stored in cloud is it will be placed there, and there is no chance that you are going to lose anything within the cloud, unless even natural disaster, and even in natural disaster, you can keep a copy of data across the other region. I mean, across the world, you can keep that copy of the different type of data. Then we have tiered storage available. So there is immediate access, infrequently access, archive, and delete. So we are going to go, I'm going to show you what type of these storage is available here. So 7:22. I'm just looking at the time. So just in 10 minutes, we'll start the lab so that we can change gears between understanding. So guys, what we are understanding today, we are understanding S3 as an external storage that is used in cloud. In Azure, this is known as a blob storage or the container storage as well. Here, object automated lifecycle management, we can also automate the lifecycle management. Lifecycle management, and we will see that once we create S3, what is a lifecycle management? Lifecycle management is very simple concept in which we can create a lifecycle management rule in bucket. So in the bucket, since immediately in the bucket, whatever you store here, so I stored a file number 1, and then I store a file number 2. This everything is being stored. This everything is being stored in file number 1 and file number 2 in the bucket. So this is stored in the bucket, right? And once it's stored in the bucket, it is stored in the, you can say that by default it is stored in the standard type of storage, and there are different pricing tiers. But for now, the point I wanted to make, what is the lifecycle management? This data is stored in an expensive storage. Let's say this file I'm using every day, and this file I've not used for the last 60 days. Then it is better to move that file, since I'm not using that file every day, this better to move this file in a cheaper storage, maybe a cold storage. So then I can create a rule by using the lifecycle management rule that if the file is not being used for 60 days, it should be moved into a cheaper storage. So that is basically an example of lifecycle management. And even if that file is not, so file 2 is moved in here, file 2 is now moved here from here to the cheaper storage. And again, the same rule says that if that file is not used for next 90 days, then it will be moved into the archive storage. So there is that archive or the Glacier storage. Then it will be really cheaper than this cheaper storage. So that's an infrequently accessed storage. This is frequently accessed storage. So what are we trying to understand? We are trying to understand life cycle management. So it's a life of a file or life of an object. If it is used every day, it is kept in the expensive storage. If it is used not used in the last 60 months, it moved into a infrequently accessed storage. And then further, if it is not moved in 90 days, then it will be moved into the Glacier. So it will be a lot cheaper, moved into the Glacier. That's the life cycle management. Then we can support S3 can support object versioning. We also support object encryption. Encryption is security for the object. And then you can also protect your objects via access control lists and bucket policies. So Majbeen asked the question, what is the difference between blob and a container? Oh, wow. Okay, so blob and a container are both terms not used in AWS. These are the terms that are used for the storage in Azure. So the reference, why did I use these terms here? Because many of the students, they have completed Azure training. That's why just for a little comparison, I'm just giving them that this is what they can remember from Azure and AWS. Otherwise, blob storage and container both terms are not used in AWS.
Then just one quick question. The
Yes.
lifecycle management work reverse order. Example, like if cold storage file is went to from if any file from the cold storage is running every day, it will go back to the
Right. Yes. So it's a very good question. Yes, the lifecycle management moves the file from from the expensive to a cheaper storage. Is there anything that can move the file back to the expensive storage if it is used every day? No, not automatic. There is no such thing as this. You'll have to retrieve the file from Glacier. That will take hours because it's a cheaper storage, and from Glacier then you need to move it back to the to your everyday storage, and from there it works. But most recently AWS has introduced a newer type of pricing tier that is known as so I will that is basically that will automatically move files between all these different tiers. So I'm going to share that different pricing models in a moment. But to answer your question, yes, once it is moved into archive storage, you'll have to move it back manually to a more active storage, or maybe an expensive storage.
Thanks.
Okay, and there is versioning available. Versioning is basically a concept in which you can create a different versions of your file. So I created one text file today, and that text file is, let's say it's so by default versioning is not enabled. Which means that I've copied a file in the bucket, and then I make changes to the file and then saved it in the bucket. The same file will be overwritten. But let's say if I enable versioning, on this, then versioning will be that if the first file will remain the same and it will be given version 1, and then the second file will be version 2. So versioning, it will be like this. But once you enable versioning, remember, in a bucket, so by default versioning is not enabled in a bucket, but once you enable versioning, you cannot turn it off. You cannot turn it off on a bucket. It is enabled. So once it is enabled, if you need to make changes to this bucket, you need to create another bucket, and then and that bucket without versioning. So that's the thing. So versioning needs to be versioning. Once you decide to enable versioning, you need to plan that and design that. For that, particular bucket, that everything that goes into that folder or that bucket needs to have versioning enabled. What is the problem with the versioning? The problem with the versioning, your storage can grow up very fast. Your storage can grow up very fast because all of the files are being versioned. Even a small bit, 1 bit change, it will be an older version, and then it will start creating new version. Encryption is security, that all your documents will be encrypted. About encryption, what we need to understand is that everything in AWS, everything in this cloud is all encrypted. So this is all encrypted. So your files here are encrypted, EC2 instances encrypted. This is just a thumb rule within the cloud. In all the clouds, everything is encrypted. But when you connect when you connect your physical data center, with a cloud, you need to make sure that on your side the data is encrypted as well. So we are responsible. So once you copy anything in the cloud, in the bucket, everything is encrypted, which means that no one can open that file without your access key. Remember that when we create a user, we are given access key and a security key. So access key and security key. Without that access key and security key, and if that file belongs to you, and since you logged in, you created that file by default, you're the owner. Other than you, without these access keys, nobody can open the file unless you provide them with the access key and the security key. So about encryption, one thing to remember: everything is encrypted in the cloud. So this is one point to remember. But then what is your responsibility? Our responsibility is that when the data is traveling outside the cloud, you're copying the same file, this file, from this bucket to your physical environment. Then from here, it's not encrypted. So all the way going back to your environment and then stored in your environment in a disk. If this file is moved from here to here, this is not encrypted. So we are responsible for the data in transit. This is known as data in transit. Data in transit. Our responsibility is to make this link encrypted, and also where we are storing that needs to be encrypted as well, wherever you're storing that data. So for encryption, just remember that. And all of the companies where you go to as a cloud admin, they make sure that this data is encrypted, but this is not part of the cloud. They spend their own money to make sure that this all data is encrypted using VPN connections, using then disk encryptions on the server side. Then here we have some more characteristics. So standard is 99 point. It's the same thing what we are already discussed. Infrequent data access. So now there are different type of data available. So there is infrequent access, IA data. Then there is reduced redundancy. Then there is Glacier data. So that I will discuss in another slide. But here, okay, so I'm going to just quickly read through this. Data that is accessed less frequently but requires fast access when needed, lower fee when standard, but a retrieval fee is charged. And then reduced redundancy required provides 99 availability and durability, lower fees than standard. Glacier is the cheapest one, which is archival storage with very infrequent access data. So, okay. So this is where I wanted to show you. These are the different pricing tiers available. So first one is standard. So first one is standard. So this is a standard S3, which is active and frequently accessed data and millisecond access, and the data will be available in 3 availability zones. So greater than and or equal to 3 availability zone. The price is this 0.02 per GB. Whereas this is the new one. This is the one that I was talking about, intelligent tiering. So this is S3 intelligent tiering. S3 intelligent tiering is where the data are changing access patterns, same milliseconds. So milliseconds access is so, and then we have a It is available in 3 availability zone. The prices are anywhere from 0.02 to 0.01, and monitoring fee is charged, and there is minimal storage duration. Okay, so now what is intelligent tiering? So I'm going to come back to intelligent tiering. Let me first go through these different here. So first one is standard. Second one is infrequently accessed data. Here your data will be stored in 3 different availability zones. So 3 copies of data will be available in IA. This is, remember, infrequently accessed data. So this is cheaper. So infrequently accessed data is 0.02. This one is 0.01 here. And then we have one zone in infrequently accessed data, which is, this is that type of data where you don't need 3 different copies. Maybe this is the one, this is a data that is, you're just keeping that for a backup, but you still need that this data more frequently as compared to Glacier. So this storage is better than Glacier. In Glacier, the data, the retrieval time is more in Glacier as compared to one zone, but this is the data that you don't use every day, but you still need it close close by where you need to access the file. So this is one zone. So the difference between standard IA and one zone IA is just that here you will have 3 copies of data stored in 3 different availability zones. This is just one zone. It is available only in one zone. And the price difference is right here, 0.012. Here it is 0.0100. And so there is retrieval fees will be charged. Retrieval fees are charged here as well. And then we have Glacier, which is archive data. And then the newer one is, which is deep archive. So this is Glacier Deep Archive. Now, the big difference between these two, so most of the things are the same here, minutes of hours access. So when you are charged, you're from minutes to hour, and here only hours access is charged. But the big difference between the two is here you might be, so you will store data in both of them. You will store data in both of them. This is cheaper. Here you can see the price is 0.00099, and here the price is 0.004. So there is a price difference between Glacier and Deep Archive. But the big difference is, yes, this is dirt cheap as compared to all these different type of storage, but here the retrieval time is not less than 12 hours. So once, let's say you are keeping that data in Deep Archive, it will take 12 hours to retrieve that data. And here it will be anywhere from minutes to hours, to 4 or 5 hours. So it goes to hour, but it won't be 12 hours. So the data that you're trying to retrieve will take anywhere from, sometime it is minutes. You just click the file, you will see the Glacier, and it's just like a folder, and you click the file and it will be available within minutes. And sometime it takes hours because it's a Glacier, it's an archival storage. And so then what do you store in the Deep Archive? Guys, Deep Archive, I'll give you an example. In one of my previous contract, we had 200 terabytes of data for the last 12 years for that company. 200 terabytes is huge. Meaning 200 terabytes, if I need to keep 200 terabytes, it's like $300,000 per month they were paying to keep that data. Why were they keeping the data? For compliance purposes. It was a legal firm and they wanted to have that data kept for legal purposes. And so what we decided to keep the data that is let's say 5 years old data was kept in the Glacier, and then 10 years back data was kept in the Deep Archive. So the older data can be kept here, and you can wait for 12 hours to retrieve that data. That is fine, but the data is kept. So data is safe within AWS. So this is where Deep Archive is used. And then what is intelligent tiering? Intelligent tiering, guys, is a new type of tiering model. Here you can see that this is the most frequently accessed data, which is in red, and this is infrequently accessed data which is in light blue, in light blue. And here you can see a combination of red and light blue. So intelligent tiering, it automatically moves data between standard and infrequently accessed data. So this is where Abdul, when he asked the question that is there any way you can move data from from Glacier to S3, when we can create a lifecycle management rule to move the data from standard to IA, and then from IA to Glacier, and from Glacier to deep archive. We can create a lifecycle management rule. So the question was, is there anything you can automatically move data back? So my answer is no. You cannot move data from deep archive or Glacier automatically, but instead you can use an intelligent tiering. Intelligent tiering will keep on monitoring the data. This is all based on machine learning. So machine learning technology that maybe some of you might have already aware of. Nowadays, machine learning is getting hot and hot every day. Machine learning is a technology that will be used in IoT. Machine learning is a technology that automatically, I mean, Netflix is using machine learning technology. It knows that what movies you like the most, what type of movies you like, and it will start giving you ads according to those movies. Facebook is using machine learning where it knows that what type of things you're buying nowadays, and will start giving you ads according to whatever you're thinking. So machine learning, so this S3 intelligent tiering is based on machine learning. It learns that some files here in the standard you are not using. They are sitting in here, but you're not using. So instead of keeping them in a expensive storage, just move the file automatically in here. And when you access the file, it will start accessing the file again. It will again move it to standard tier. So intelligent tiering will help you save some cost, because there are many files that are sitting in the expensive storage that we don't use every day. So guys, so in this topic, what we have learned now, a few things to remember, that S3 is a storage where S3 is an external storage. Number one, S3 comes in these different pricing models. You can just remember that expensive and then cheaper on this side. Then Glacier is now of two types, Glacier and Deep Archive. The big difference between the two is that the price difference. And the second one is archival time. So Deep Archive is 12 hours, whereas Glacier is anywhere from minutes to 3 hours. So guys, let's now create a bucket. So I'm going to create a bucket. So in the lab, what we are going to do is we are going to create a bucket. So we'll just create one bucket and upload files, and then we'll go through different options that are available in terms of versioning, encryption, and security. So for that, let's log into the portal. So I am in the portal, everyone. And so right here, the EC2 instance that I created is right here. Let's see. So since we started with this warm-up exercise, let's quickly see that if, okay, so I'm not going to check that. Should I check that? I'm just checking that if the script was ran. So I'll quickly check that out. And for that, I am going to need the IP address, the DNS name. Yes, so I'm going to copy this here and let's try this. Oops, okay. So there is some issue. I can check that out later on, but most probably it should be working though. It's not working. So probably I need to log into the machine and check later on. But for now, let's create a S3 storage. So S3, all we need to do is go into S3 storage and create our first bucket. So here you have all of the buckets. If you're in S3 storage, all you need to do is create a bucket. And when you create a bucket, you're just creating, it's just a folder. So I'm just going to name this, and that name has to be unique. So I am giving a name, pass bucket 01 or okay, this is, 11 November 001. So this is, I just created it, I just named it. It is sitting in this region. I'm using the same region right here. If you, so the next option is choose a bucket. So choose bucket is basically if you have a previous bucket with the same settings, if you want to create this bucket according to any previously configured bucket, you can choose that bucket right from here. Now, what is the,
Dan,
yes,
not 11 November, 6 November.
it is, oh, wow. Okay. Sorry, 11 November is not far. So 6th November. Okay, thank you. Okay, so 6th November is right here, and I should ask the question: is the unique region and unique to your account? What? Okay, so you can select a region. You can select any region from here. So I'm gonna select. I'm gonna just go with this region because this is the region which is where the services are introduced. So all of the services are present in this region. Not so we already know that not all of the cloud services are available within. Not all of the cloud services are available in all of the regions. Some are newer regions. So is the naming unique to your region or unique to your account? So yes, it's an important question. This naming is unique to complete AWS cloud. Not even my account, not even your account. If I use this name, you cannot use this name. So it's a unique name throughout AWS cloud. So this name has to be unique. And here you can choose a bucket configuration. And here when you configured all of these settings, let's say this bucket is open for public, this bucket has some tags, some versioning enabled, some encryption enabled. If you don't want to do all that setting again, you can select choose from the bucket. You're most welcome, Asher. So here, I don't have any other bucket at the moment. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna name it, select a region, and here I have public access to the bucket. So I'm just not gonna enable this access. I'm gonna keep it blocked. So I think that the steps that I'm going through is just very simple steps. So if you can do it with me, that will be excellent. If not, it's fine. You can do that later on. But if you can do it, it will be much better for a change. I mean, you have been listening to this lecture for longer time. This will be a good for a change. So all I did, everyone, logged into the console and then open S3 services and just named it. You name it something and select a region. So my question to everyone is, are you following me in the lab? So you can say the word yes or no, or you will do the lab later on. Okay. If you can follow me in the lab, it will be fine. Because this is a simple lab, and you can do it right here in the class as well. And so we created a bucket with this name, and the region is North Virginia region. I'm not going to select the public access. Public access is not configured here. And then bucket versioning is right here. I'm not going to enable this bucket versioning at the moment. So versioning means, actually I made it, you can look at it on your side as well. So versioning means to keeping the multiple variants of an object in the same bucket, and you can use versioning to preserve, retrieve, and restore every version of your every object stored in the S3 bucket. With versioning, you can easily recover in both unintended user action and application failure. So for now, we're not enabling that. I am going to provide a small tag to this. So this belongs to IT department as a tag. And here you have encryption enabled. So encryption is automatically encrypt new objects stored in the bucket. So encryption, all the object in the here will be encrypted. For now, we're not going to enable any encryption. In the advance, it's just showing that do you want to lock this? Do you want to lock the bucket for against and protection from any accidental deletion? Here I'm not going to enable anything. So for most of the properties, I'm not selecting any here. I just named it and that's it. So we're going with the default properties. We will be setting that up one by one once the bucket is created. So now the bucket is created right here. And so here we have some few messages: archive all of your long-term data into Azure, which is save costs. And here it gives you some suggestions, some recommendations. So in order to go into the bucket, all I need to do is just click on the bucket. So once you're in the bucket, here it gives you the properties. Here it gives you the Amazon resource name, which is ARN. Guys, ARN is sometimes required with some of the services. So if some service is saying bring the S3 ARN, so you can copy it right from here. So some services in different places, it would require you to bring ARN for, so ARN is nothing but Amazon resource name. The creation date for this is this, and access to bucket and is not public. Here it's saying access to bucket is not public. So now the next thing what we need to do here, we have objects. So all of the objects will be right here. So upload an object within S3. Then we have different properties here, the same property that we are going to enable shortly. So I'm going to upload an image right from here. So when you're uploading a file, let me upload a file. So I am uploading a file. So I just uploaded this file. I'm going to upload another file, which is right here. So there are some files available. So I'm copying another file right here. So let's me copy this file. So now I have two files uploaded. So what can we do with these files? So first of all, here we can see that the files that I uploaded are right here. You can upload any type of file, and these are object files. And if you select this one file and so I can remove the file. Let me go back to the bucket here. So are you sure you want to? Yes. Oh, I didn't upload it. I just selected the file, but I never uploaded the file. And I'm going to upload another file. And right here, we can select upload. I can enable versioning on this, but for now, we are not enabling versioning. So we will enable versioning in few minutes. So here, the both of the files are uploaded. So exit from here. Now I can see two objects are uploaded, and they are sitting in the storage class standard. Now, what can we see in this file? So if I go into one of the files here, I can see the properties of the file. So the owner is this owner of the file, last modified date. This is a E tag, which is used for the AWS purposes. The storage class is standard. Server-side encryption is not enabled. Size of the file is this. And here is the object of the file. Now, first of all, let's check the permissions of the file. If you want to see or view the file, all you need to do is click
Excuse
on
me,
the
Anand.
file name. Yes, please go ahead.
Would you be able to go 30 seconds
Yes,
back?
yes.
Because I missed the.
It's okay. Yeah. So all I did, once you're in the bucket, and you just need to click upload.
I did, yeah.
Okay, so once uploaded, do you see any objects under this?
Yeah, I have a file there on the
Okay,
bottom.
okay, that's fine. And then all you need to do, just click on one of the files. So
Ah, that's
any one of the files. And
okay. Got
once
it.
you're here within the file, you will see different properties of the file, and you can click on the file and see view the file. So when you're clicking on the file, it is automatically protected and access will be denied. So there are
Uh,
two reasons.
I have a
Yes.
question. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yes.
So
Yes.
is
Please go
that
ahead.
file, did you create this file or it was part of the default bucket, that file?
No, no, no. I uploaded that file. So
You uploaded that file. Okay,
yes.
I must have missed that.
No, no, it's fine. So all you need to do, if you're on this screen, then you need to click upload, and this will upload file from your computer. So
Okay.
select any picture from your file or any object from your file, text file or a picture file. You can just upload.
Okay, got it. Got it.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah.
Okay, no problem. Um, so so right here, we can see that there is a file image. So I'm gonna go into the file, and by default, the file is protected. So if I try to open that file, which is right here, so by default, if I try to open the file, it says access denied. Now it is access denied because we cannot view the file because it's not public. So first of all, it needs to be made public, but you cannot make it public if the bucket is not enabled for public access. So when you are making the file public, it needs to be done in two places. Number one, here, when you access the file, right here, and the other one is that in the bucket. So I'm going to go back in the bucket and enable public access. So in order to do that, I'm going to go back to the bucket, and in here I can go to, I think this is permissions. Yes, permissions. So you can go to the bucket and permissions. In the permissions, all you need to do, it says block public access. So again, you're in the bucket. Always keep an eye on where you are. So in the beginning, it will be a bit difficult, but then you will get used to this, that where you are. So I am in S3, and within S3, I'm in the bucket. So within this bucket, and I just went to, I'm just here in the permissions area. And in the permissions area, all I need to do, it's saying block all public access. So I need to allow this. And here I'm allowing this access. And here, all I need to do is to uncheck this. Block all public access and save changes. So here it's saying, since you're opening this to the public, which will anyone with the link will be able to access this. So do you want to confirm? So I'm just confirming that access. So for the public, it is now available. You can also have a policy enabled as well.
None. When my confirm is not what you call access to me.
Okay, just a second. It's because, okay, so when you're saying confirm is not working for you,
No,
is,
got it.
oh, you got
Sorry.
it. So you just need to type confirm in there, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I've enabled the public access. Now I'm going to go back to the file and try to access the file. It will still not work because I haven't enabled public access on the file or on the object. So here I need to enable that, make public here as well. So now how many places did I access, made it public? So I'm making it public now. So it's right here. So the picture, we can see it on the screen. So here we need to understand just two things. Number one, that all of the objects are by default, when you create a bucket, are public access is disabled.
How you enable the public?
So public access will be enabled in two places, Ajmal, right here. So everyone, you need to go to the bucket first.
I got it, Adnan.
Okay, thank you. Ajmal, which type of access is not accessible? The file is not accessible to you?
Public, the make a public, it is not
Enabled, it's disabled.
layout actually for
Right,
me.
right. So all you need to do, go back to, if you're looking at the screen, then go back to the bucket and go to the permissions. So go to permissions here, and within permissions, just edit this and make it enabled. That's good. Okay, so if it is enabled on the bucket level, then you will be able to make it public. So guys, quickly let me know in the chat window how many of you are able to view the picture and enable both public access. So just say done in the chat window if you are able to view the picture and enable both public access. Okay, thank you.
So,
Yes.
is it possible? I'm not sure if time allows us to do that. You know how when you put the in S3, and if you in S3 we're not using the store the data is going to move to with the intelligent access is going to move to the different bucket. Is it possible to do that, or you're going to do a lab on that and
Oh,
send it to them?
you mean the lifecycle management? Lifecycle management, that how the object automatically moves from one storage to another?
Yeah, after 30 days, 90 days, you know how it moves to one.
Yeah, we can do it right now. We can do it right now.
Perfect.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so guys, one more time, just for everyone's, so maybe if somebody have missed and it's somebody have missed, so I'm going to create another bucket quickly. So let's create another bucket. So this time I'm going to just name that. So just a random number, pass bucket 0002. It's the same bucket, and all I'm gonna do is create a new bucket. So guys, just keep on creating few buckets here just for practice purposes. So I've just created this other bucket, and as you can see, the difference between this bucket and the previous bucket is here it's saying that my previous bucket is objects can be public. Whereas on this bucket, it's saying bucket and the objects are not public. So here again, I'll go into the bucket, which is just a folder. It's nothing but a folder. I'll just go and upload something. And I'm uploading a file here. So when I upload a file, you can upload anything. So I've uploaded a file, and here it's saying that you can enable versioning on this. You can enable versioning on this, or you can access the bucket right from here within within a link here as well. So what I'm going to do is just click upload the file. So file is uploaded, and I'm going to go back, and within the here I can see the file in this and accessing the file. So it will give me the link of the file, and in order to access the file, I'll just click the link of the file. It gives me access denied. In order to fix this, all I need to do is to make it public. So okay, so this is my previous bucket. That's why I can see it make public, because in this bucket we have already enabled public access. So I'm going to go back to S3 and go into my new bucket. So new bucket, we are in the new bucket here, and in permissions area, I'm going to go to public access and edit. And within this, all I need to do is save. It will confirm. So what I'm going to do, I'm just copying the confirm here and confirm. So public access is confirmed. Once it is confirmed, I'm going to go back to the bucket, go inside the bucket, and from here, click the picture. Once I'm clicking the picture, I can see everything here. Okay, so I'm in the, what happened? Why is it not showing? Because I did.
No, I think you had permissions and then you disabled it maybe. Or maybe.
I think you have to move to a different screen and come back to that screen.
Okay. Let me try that again. Let me try that quickly again. I'm going into the permission and okay. So I think I haven't saved it last time and I haven't clicked this. Oh, I did actually. So confirm, and I'll just make sure that this time it is done. So this time it is all off, and going back into S3. Now I can see bucket can be public. So right here on the file, we can make it public. And so make it public. Success, access the file. So we can access the file. Okay. So so in order to, I mean, as you can see, the more and more times you do, the more and more times you get the confidence, you get that, I mean, the first time when you do it, it seems like there are so many steps, but once you do it once, twice or thrice, definitely, it helps a lot. It helps a lot. So we've created 2 buckets, everyone. Now in the third bucket, we will do a versioning exercise. So we will enable versioning and we will see that how versioning is done. So I can do that in the same buckets as well, but I'm just doing it in the third bucket so that we can practice more with buckets and we can come back to these buckets as well. So let's create a third bucket, guys. So let's create a third bucket, and this time this bucket will be So I just called this pass bucket version 0001. So this is specially for versioning purposes. And in here from the start, I'm gonna just enable the public access. So right from the start, we will enable public access for this. And so here it's saying turning off all public access might result in the bucket and the object being becoming public. So it's just a warning. So I'm just going to acknowledge this here. If you don't acknowledge this, it won't go. It will ask you to just make sure that you acknowledge the fact that this bucket and the content of this bucket is public. So within versioning, we can enable versioning right from here, or we can enable versioning from inside as well. So here I'm not going to enable versioning. I'll show you where it is done from inside. And so we will create this bucket.
And then I think I missed the versioning. One line, what is versioning?
Yes, versioning is different. So same. It's the copy of the same file with different versions. So let's say we created a text file. We created a text file, and so this will be saved as one text file. But let's say in next 5 minutes, I made some changes to that text file, so it will keep the older version and the newer version as well. Okay. So in order to do this exercise, all we need to do, I will go into this bucket, which is past bucket version 001, and I will upload a text file. So let's upload a text file. And so this is before versioning is enabled. So I'm not enabling versioning at the moment. I'm just uploading one text file. Okay. Okay, so add a file. And once you add a file, I have a text file here. So what you can do on your machine as well, you can create a text file, maybe a new text file just by right clicking here anywhere once you upload a file. And I'm going to say this is my text file. So text file is account01. So I just name it account01 file. And I'm going to add something to this file. So here, this is version 1. This is version 1, and this is just a simple text file. So all I did, right click here, and then created a text file. And all I need to do is, so selected that file, and here we can now enable versioning in this right from here. So I added a text file, and you can enable versioning and upload the file. So here I can see that the file is uploaded. If I can go to the
So
configuration.
versioning you can do for particular files, not on the entire bucket.
You can do it on the entire bucket as well. So this is done. This is done
But
for the bucket. Yes.
no, we don't want to do for the bucket, but we just want to do for the files. Then, and this is how we do it, file by file, right?
No. Versioning once enabled, it is done for the bucket. It's not just
Oh, that's
individual objects.
okay.
Yes. So so it is in the properties. So in the properties, bucket versioning means, and it is enabled. So it's saying versioning means to keep the multiple variants of the file. I think it is written in here that it is enabled for the complete bucket. So even in the real environment, we keep a bucket or a folder that is where we need versioning. We keep it in different buckets. Ajmal asked a question. I miss versioning. So you miss versioning, Ajmal. So all you need to do, if you haven't enabled versioning, you can just go to the bucket and go to properties tab. So within the properties tab, edit bucket versioning and enable versioning. So once the versioning is enabled, now versioning can be enabled right from the beginning, or you can go to the bucket, go to the properties, enable versioning, or when you're uploading the file, and you can enable it right from there. So here you can suspend the versioning too. So here you can suspend the versioning later on. If you don't need versioning, it will stop. And but you cannot remove the versioning from here. It will be suspended though. So suspend creation of the object, all operations, but prevent from existing objects. So, I mean, what we meant by that you cannot disable versioning is that if you have previously versioning different versions of thousands and thousands of files, so even if you suspend that, those versions won't be removed. Those versions will still be there. So that's the meaning that you cannot disable versioning once it is enabled. So in here you can suspend it though for any newer versioning, but it is enabled for now. Okay, and we will be going for a break in next 10 minutes. So 10 minutes, Ashish will be going for. So versioning is enabled. Now let's test this out, everyone. So one more time, I'm going to go back to S3. One more time, how do you enable versioning, guys? It's very simple. All you need to do, go into the bucket, go to the properties, and you enable the versioning. Once it is enabled, now we will try different versions of the same file. So let's go into the file here. And I'm going to make some changes to the file. So there are two ways I can make changes. I can go to the Windows Explorer and make change there and then upload a file, or we can do it So Majbin is asking a question. Suspend will have similar effect of stopping, right? We have to enable again to continue. Exactly. That's the main. Yes, it is. It means that suspended means it is stopped for now. But we need to remember that since we started versioning, all of the previous versions of the files will remain the same. So those files won't be removed. So I'm gonna upload. Go to the upload. So
Adnan,
yes,
sorry,
please go
I
ahead.
know the file which we have already uploaded. I just
Yes.
want to make changes to that file and save it and say if it is saving two versions.
Exactly. So that's the only way you can check if versioning is enabled. Yes.
No, so but the thing is, if we are doing it in our PC and uploading it, then that is different. But from there itself, from the S3 bucket, if we open the file, make some changes and save it, then it should be two versions, something like that. Can we do?
Can you repeat your question, please?
You know, like you are creating another file now in our own PC and then uploading it. Rather than doing that, you know, the one which we have already uploaded on the S3 bucket, we open it and make some changes and save it. So there will be two versions saved on the S3 bucket.
Yes, exactly. So I am going to do exactly the same thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my Windows Explorer. So I'll show you what I'm doing. So that will, I think, clear the concept. So what I'm doing is I am going to this. So this is the file that I uploaded, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make changes in the same file. So I'm just going to say here, this is second version of the file. Okay. So in the same file, and I'll upload the same file again within the bucket. So in normal, if versioning is not enabled, what it does, it should overwrite it. It should overwrite because it's the same name. It will overwrite the file. But in this case,
It means people ask for the yesterday file, so we can provide that.
yes. So I'm uploading the same file. I'm not uploading any new file. I'm uploading the same file here. So when you upload the same file, if versioning is not enabled, it will just overwrite it and you won't find the previous versions of the same file. So let's see what happens. So I'm uploaded the file. So this file is uploaded. I'm going to exit from here. And now I'm going to go to the file here. So when you open the file, and in here, it says that this is the latest version and this is the previous version as well. So in the other bucket, when we upload the same file, it won't give you this versioning. And now when I keep on making changes, or whoever makes changes from anywhere and they upload exactly the same file from maybe different part of the world, you will get all different versions of the file. So this is the latest version. This is the previous version. If I go to the previous version and try to have a look at it, so I need to enable. So this is version number 1, and the previous version will be the latest version is this. So both version, and now you keep on changing, you keep on making changes, and it will be. So remember that once you enable versioning, it will be keeping the version of everything within the bucket.
Sorry, actually, my question is, like, you know, when we open the file, we make the modification in our PC, we save it to our PC, and then we upload it.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than that, like, you know, can't we do this the live work without bringing it to our computer and modifying it? That we open the file there itself, modify it, and save it, so it will be saving at a different version.
Oh, you're saying that if we can, if there is anything, we can edit the file right here and save it.
Yes.
No, that is not possible in S3, but it can be possible through any Lambda service or any EC3 instances. So you can access the file from there, and then the file will be open. You can make changes. It's just that there is no editor in this, because it's not just, so we are working with just a text file, but in the bucket, you can imagine that it can have video files, audio files, and everything. So whenever there is a change, it will just make a different version of that file. And how does it keep track to? It just keep tracks to the number of bytes changed. So if there is a byte change, if there is a bit change in a file, it will just keep it there. So you can download a file, open a file, copy a path.
Basically, it's a Google Drive, huh? Not like different.
Exactly,
like.
exactly. It's like OneDrive, it's like Google Drive, so it's just like that. So you can make changes. Okay, so within the properties, let's see what else do we have here. So here we have different storage classes for the file. So we are just looking at the file, and the same options you will find it in the bucket. So we can make these changes within the complete bucket, or we can make these changes according to the objects as well. So let's quickly have a look at this. So we have properties. Okay, 8:19. So just one more minute, we'll go for a break. Or let's go for a break, everyone. So it's 10 minutes. Let's take a 10 minutes break. And after that, we'll just work with all of these other properties in here. Hello, welcome back after the break. So guys, just before the break, we were working with we were working with different versioning. So I have to do few labs here, and this session is being recorded. So I'm just gonna go a bit fast, just to give you an overview of everything. The lifecycle management, versioning, encryption, and all. So maybe if you're not able to follow, it's fine. You can just follow the lab and video, because it will be a bit difficult for everyone to follow me along in these other labs.
So Adnan, I found one that server-side encryption something.
Yes. Yes, encryption, I'm going to just go through in a moment. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So guys, here, if you're not able to follow me, just you can take notes, and this is being recorded, and there will be those 10 minutes videos as well. And I would request everyone to go through all the video at least 3 times before the custom lab, so that you will be able to go through the custom lab. Okay. Um so right here, I can see, I can go into the bucket. I have 3 buckets. We have tested public access. We also tested the versioning. And now I'll create another bucket for lifecycle management. So lifecycle management is where you move automatically data from an expensive storage to an inexpensive storage. So here I'm going to name the bucket lifecycle management. So pass bucket lifecycle management 001. I'm not changing the region. I'm just enabling the public access. And within this, versioning is not enabled. Tags will be finance department, and encryption is not enabled in here. And for this one, I'm gonna just lock this bucket. So lock this bucket, it is enabling object log will permanently allow objects in this bucket to be locked, which is so here we are, unless you can remove the lock and then delete the bucket later on. So I'm just enabling the lock on this, so that we don't have, and no one can accidentally delete the bucket. So for now, public access is enabled on this. I'm going to go into the lifecycle management, and let's quickly go through these properties here. So in the first properties of the bucket here, we have a versioning, we have tags, we have encryption, and we have server access logging. Server access logging is just that it says that if you, so basic logging is there. Basic log are there. When you create a bucket, there are logs where it is being logged. But if you need to enable detailed logging on this, so then you can enable server logging. And the good thing about all of these services is that you have that help available. So even in the real environment, if something is not clear, you can just quickly go through a quick help. And these help nowadays in all the cloud providers. This is very simple, easy to read, easy to understand help available, as compared to previously, long time back, when we used to have documentation even on the website. That documentation, it was not straightforward or easy to understand. But here it says server access logging provide detailed records for the requests that are made to the bucket, and server access logs are useful to many applications. For example, access log information can be useful in security access audit. It can help you learn about customer base and all that. So you can enable all these logs just by enabling access. You can edit it, and you can enable the log. And here you can set up the alerts, CloudTrail and CloudWatch. Remember, how do you, so Ajmal is asking, how do you lock that, and how do you lock? So lock is here within the management, or I think within the access point, we can check that out, but you can enable the log right from the beginning. So I just created a bucket. If you scroll down, you should be able to see, and I'll show you again. So guys, here CloudTrail and CloudWatch is there. So this is for to configure the CloudTrail events to log S3 object API operation in the CloudTrail console. So basically, it will create an alert. It will create an alert, whatever you want, let's say you want to create an alert for based on whatever objects are changed within this. So I'm not going to do that at the moment. Here you have notification and you have transfer acceleration. We can check that out as well. For now, what we are doing, let's target what we are doing at the moment. And I'm going to go into management. And here we have lifecycle management rule. So lifecycle management rule is use lifecycle management rule to define action you want S3 to take during an object lifetime, such as transitioning object to another object class, which is archiving them or deleting them. So here I'm going to create an object lifecycle rule. So object lifecycle rule. So this will apply to all the objects within this bucket. And here I'm going to just name this object lifecycle rule 01. So rule, and here I also wanted to store here what this rule is about, so that if I can see the name of the rule, I can name of the rule, I can just by looking at the name of the rule, it should tell me that what is this rule about. So I'm just going to name this as 60IA, meaning as when the document is 60 days old, it should be moved into infrequently accessed data. And I'm going to name this here 90 archive, 90 Glacier, GLA. So I'm just going to name this 90 Glacier. And here, so there is no requirement for small letters or capital letters. So this rule is telling me this is a rule number 1. And after 60 days, data will be moved into IA. After 90 days, it will be moved into Glacier. Now in here, the next property right here, it says that do you want to apply this to a specific type of objects within the bucket or all objects in the bucket? So so all objects in the buckets. Now, if you need to apply that in specific type of object, here you need to provide the prefix of that object, meaning let's say if it is a JPEG file, if it is a video file, you can say .avi, .wa, or any type of file extensions right here. Or you can type here different type of text here, the whatever type of files that you need to apply this rule to, and you don't want to apply to all of the files. But if you go with this here, it's saying that the rule will be applied to all objects. So at the moment, we'll just go with all objects, and I'll acknowledge this, that this rule will be applied to all objects. And right here in this is where you can define the rule. And at the moment, there is no timelines, and there is no timelines with this in this bucket. So first of all, we can apply the rule here. It's saying transition current versions to object between storage classes, and transition previous versions of the object between the storage classes. So here, if I select with this option, this will say that do not touch. So this rule will be applied, this complete rule will be applied only the newer version of the objects. I mean, right from here, right from now, any new file that will be added, the rule will be applied to any new files. Whereas if I go with this second option as well, it will be applied to everything within this bucket. So transition previous versions of the objects between storage classes. So let's say if I go with here, if I don't go with anything, so guys, just please notice that it will start adding different options right underneath. So here, if I go with the transition current version, here it's now saying that, okay, so what do you want to with the current version of all of the objects? And here it says move to standard IA. You can move to intelligent tiering. You can move to all these different type of objects. Here I can say move to IA after 30 days. So this is 30 days transition, or we said 60 days actually. So in the rule name, you can change it. You can change the rule name as well later on. But here 60 days is I move to IA. And then after that, you can move, you want to move into Glacier after 90 days. And here you're acknowledging this transition, that this is your transition that you want to apply to this. So this is only for the current version. Now what happens to the previous versions of the object? And here you can see that there is nothing underneath. Here you can just submit the rule and create the rule, or within the same rule you can have previous version. Now recommendation are that once you create a rule for only one type of transition. So this is for current version, and for the previous version you can create another rule so that you can easily troubleshoot. Because if one rule has a lot of transitions, then it will be difficult to troubleshoot that which type of rule is affecting which type of object. So but since here we are doing that for all of the objects within this, if you would have created a one rule for JPEG file, another rule for video files, another rule for audio files, then it is recommended to create one rule for one type of file so that you can directly work on that file. So in this case, I'm going to transition. As soon as I click on this here, it gives me another tab, another box here for the transition non-current versions. So non-current version meaning previous versions. So the previous versions, we can again say this is, let's say previous version move 30 days old data into IA, and also move into deep archive after, let's say, 180 days. So anything that is older than 180 days, you can move it to deep archive. And the deep archive and the Glacier, just the difference is just a matter of retrieval time, and you can retrieve data in deep archive. It's more than 12 hours retrieval time, whereas in the normal Glacier, it is just minutes to hours. It can take hours to retrieve data. The next one is here you can expire versions of the object. So you can, if let's say certain type of object that you don't need, you can say that after how many after how many time, after how much time you want to expire. Let's say if I say expire object, since this is my test subscription, and I don't want to keep anything in the bucket, because you will be charged against the storage. You will be charged. So whatever objects you will be having in the storage, in standard storage, you will be charged for that storage. But there are some, since we are in the free tier, there is some limit, and after that limit you will be charged. So here, let's say if I say 5 days, but in the expiration, you need to, it's saying the rule is that you cannot, it must be greater than 90 days. So here you cannot have 90 days, but here I'm going to say after 90 days, all objects should be expired. Now you might say that there might be some important files in the bucket, but here you're saying that all the files that are more than 90 days should be expired. This is conflicting with these other rules here. So guys, this is the very reason why we need it to be separate rules for each different type of object. And when it comes to expiry, you need to know, we need to plan that from the beginning, that this bucket, everything that will go, it won't stay more than 90 days. So if you go with this other rule. Other than that, then there is a rule for permanently delete previous versions of the object and delete expired object marked and incomplete multi-part uploads. So this is basically some other options. And as soon as you enable these, you need to provide this, that what is permanently delete date, and then here delete the objects that are incomplete, or multi-part uploads are for those objects that are huge, that are very, very big objects, and you're copying them in different timings. So right here, I'm not going to enable this two rules. I'm enabling these rules, and all I need to do is create a rule. So once the rule is created, it is enabled, and the lifecycle management is applied only on this bucket. And this bucket is basically, this is how the lifecycle rule is managed. So if I select this rule, you can make changes to these rules by editing it if you want. But here essentially, no action will be taken, because we said that after 90 or 60 days, it should be moved into archive storage. I never tried that if I can change it to, let's say, maybe days. This is days. So this will at least okay, minimum is 30 days here. Minimum is 30 days. I was thinking that if we can see the practical, that if it is automatically moved to but it will move. So definitely these rules are here, and they will work for sure. Okay, so this is lifecycle management, and we have now 3 buckets here. We have 3 buckets. Let's see what else do we have here within the management. Going into the management here, we also have replication rule. Guys, the replication rule is basically to keep a copy of this bucket elsewhere within another region. So replication rules, so this is within the slides we are going to see. So use the replication rules to define option when you want Amazon S3 to apply during replication such as server encryption, replica ownership, transitioning to different replicas. If we just can go here, I will share with you the slides. All the information is here, but here I just wanted to show you a quick diagram here. Diagram is not here. So let's create a replication rule. So in order to understand replication is basically cross region replication. You want to keep a copy of this bucket here in US and another copy in another region for backup purposes, or maybe for caching purposes as well. So in order to do that, we can create a replication rule, but before creating a replication rule, we need to have another bucket in it sitting in another region. So let's first understand what is a replication rule. Replication rule is basically just a rule that will make sure that you have a copy of this bucket sitting in another region for backup purposes, so that if anything goes wrong in this region, people will be connected to the other region and you can download files from the other region as well. Now, in order to implement a replication rule, we need to create another bucket in another region. So all these buckets are sitting in the same region here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create another bucket here. Pass bucket, and this time we are going to create Ohio region. So I'm just going to select Ohio, and in the name I'm going to say, so this is Ohio region bucket. And for this bucket, nothing, I don't need to select anything else here, and just create this bucket. So now I have this bucket sitting in another region. Now what we can do is we can create a replication rule. So first of all, before creating a replication rule, so first of all, I need to choose which bucket that I need to go for. So there should be some files, and I wanted to show something when we are enabling. So I have some files here within this bucket, which is pass bucket 6 November 001. What we can do is I can create a replication rule in this bucket. So this bucket, I want to keep a copy of this bucket within Ohio region as well. So you can select any one of the buckets here. So I can select this bucket. So all I did, if anyone wants to is following me on this, all I did is created a new bucket in another region. So in order to do this exercise, all you need to do is create a bucket in this region, in another region, and then you can go to the bucket that you want to make a copy of. So I am going to my 6th November bucket, the very first bucket we created today. And all I do is go into the management. And in the management, I will go and so here, there is no lifecycle management rule in this. I'm going to create a replication rule on this. So in the replication rule, first of all, I need to name it. I need to name a rule. So this will be, so this is North Virginia to Ohio rule 01. Here you are going to provide access to the role. Now, role is something, a role in, so here we are going to create a new role for this. What is a role? Role in AWS. In AWS, roles are used to create a connection between different AWS services. So roles are used to create connection between different AWS services. So roles will help us to have a connection between the two buckets. So if you don't have a role between a connection between North Virginia and Ohio, in our case, we don't. I can see many other roles here. I have auto scaling role. I have different type of roles here for my different exercise for different labs that I did. I have a role from EC2 to S3 instance. But here, since there is no role between use between these two, this is why I'm creating a new role. But let's understand a bit more on the role side. So role. So here, let me. So what is the role? What is role in AWS? So role in AWS, so there is something called permissions. There is something called, so both are security related services. Both are security related services. In AWS, there are two types of access that we can have to any AWS service. There is something called permissions. There is something called permissions, and secondly is roles. Now I can have access to, I can have access. So permission is very simple. Permission is that I will go and create a IAM user, and then I give this user, and this IAM user, once remember that when you create an IAM user, you will get two types of access with this user. You can do two types of tasks with this user. Number one, you can have a programmatic access, which we call it as CLI access. And the second type of access is the console access. So whenever you create a IAM user, I think if you have done this lab, you already know that there is a programmatic access, then there is console access. Now in programmatic access, it gives you an access key, and it also gives you a security key. It also gives you a secret key. It gives you these two types of keys, and then you can use that with, let's say, any type of AWS service, and you can access them. Now, when you create an IAM user and you create an IAM user for console access, you can just log into the console and manage services. Log into the console and manage AWS services. So console access is just for that. But what is for CLI? But what is for this programmatic access with access and secret key? Now you can manage EC2 instances. EC2 instances, you can manage S3 instances, S3 buckets. You can manage all the AWS services, all the AWS services from the CLI or from the programs, from your scripting and everything. So you can use that from here. Now, so here, what are we trying to understand, guys? Our goal is to understand the roles. AWS, what is AWS role? And this is important for interview purposes. We need to understand the difference between a role and a permission. And where can you find it? So just to show you that where it is. So I'm going to go back because this is an important thing to understand. This is why I'm going back to IAM. In order to see the roles, you need to go to IAM. And once you go to IAM in here, in IAM, you have users and you have roles. So users and roles. So in users, we can create users. So I remember that we created a user. And for one of the labs, I created the CLI admin. So if you can do the video labs, you will be able to see the CLI admin. And also there are roles available. Now, by definition, IAM roles are a secure way to grant permissions to entities that you trust. And example entities includes the following. IAM user is another account. It is application code running in the EC2 instance that needs to perform action on AWS services. So the main difference between a user and a role is this is a service account. So if you're coming from an IT background, it is just a service account that is used to run a service. So I'm just going to go back to our explanation here. So in order to connect to EC2 instance and S3 or all these services, one way is you can use your access code and secret code just to log into the service. Or the second way is that you just create a role. So if you create a role, what happens is when you create a role, in role, you can have a connection between EC2 and S3 through a role, because when you are connecting from EC2 to S3, so there are two ways. Either you will use your permissions as a user, or you can use a role. But when you have to use your permission, you will log into EC2 instance, and then you can connect to S3. This will require your permission and your bucket. You will be able to connect to this. This is very simple. But when programmatically a backend service needs to connect to an application, let's say a web application that is hosted on this, and that needs to connect to S3, you're not logged in that case, you can use a role. In normal IT environments, that is known as a service account. A service account has access to the S3 service. So in AWS, this is known as a role. It has exactly the same permission. So the roles are used to have a connection between different AWS services. So where you don't need to log in, and service should automatically have a connection between EC2 and S3. So in our current example, what is the use of a role? In our current example, the use of a role is that now we need to create a connection between two buckets. So we have one bucket that is that we call 6th November bucket, and I created that other bucket within Ohio, which is so this is, I will call it Ohio bucket. So we need to have a connection between these two. So for that reason, we need to create a role. So role will make sure that when this is ready to replicate information, this role will be created. So when I say I need to create a new role, so since these are two different AWS services, role will make sure that it will copy data from here to here. So one more time, we can log into services using a normal user, or we can log in between the services using a role. When role is used, when two services directly need to connect to each other. But when you need to log into a service, you can use your account. But when EC2 instance automatically needs to connect to S3, or S3 bucket needs to connect to another S3, we use a role. So it's that it's not very difficult, but it is important to understand. So role is used between AWS services, whereas user account can interact with many AWS services by logging in. Okay, so going back to our exercise, I'm going to go back to S3. So what is the goal of this exercise? Is to enable replication. And replication, if we can just have a quick look at the replication. So I'm going to go to AWS. This is known as cross-region replication. So I'm just going to go to, let's say, images. I think this one here, we have different type of buckets, but there is no cross here. You know, that's why I don't use Bing search. It's much better in Google search. So right here. So replica is, okay. So anyways, replication is just copying of data from one region to another. So let's look at this. I think if we can do it practically, it might be more understandable. So I'm going to just jump back to our console. So I'm going to copy. So here we have few files and we need to copy them. We need to keep a copy of those files within in the other bucket. So for that, I need to go into the bucket where I need to replicate, go into management. And within the management, I'm going to go into replication rule. So replication rule will be name of the bucket, and it is from so North Virginia to Ohio region, and it is one. And for the role is required to have access between the two buckets. So this will be access between the two buckets. And here, all you need to do is, so this role will be enabled, or you wanna disable it from the start, and then after planning or everything, then you can change it. And here, do you wanna apply that to everything, or you wanna apply it to certain types of objects within the bucket? If certain type of object, then you need to provide the prefix. Maybe let's say star all the files that starts with A, or all the files that start with ABC. You can have that filter here, but here I'm going to apply that to all the objects within the bucket. Now the second thing is, what will be the destination? So destination in this account or another account. You can have it in another account. This option will only work if you have an ID of the other account and all the accounts are connected together. So later on we can find out how can you connect different accounts together. So for now we don't have that. Involves organizations, that involves here setting up the organization. You can set up the organization. By default, organization is not set up in AWS account, and this is only used when you have a huge big company with multiple accounts under that one organization. So this is where we need this. But for now, we are going to use a bucket in this account, and the bucket that I'm going to choose is Ohio, which is this one. So for replication, it is very important that you cannot replicate between the buckets in the same region. It won't replicate. So for replication, it must be, this is a cross-region replication, so you must have this second bucket in this. So here it's saying you need to enable versioning. No, we don't need to enable versioning here. Here, if you want to make changes to the classes, let's say here it is standard class, and in the other bucket, you want to change it to another class, that can be done. Or you can also replicate the time to control, which is time to replicate for the new objects in 15 minutes, if you want to control that as well. So this is just a delay in copying the file. So here, if you wanna, so as soon as the object is created, you wanna replicate immediately, or you want to have some type of delay in that. So you can have that as well. And then here it's saying that object can be encrypted with KMS. So encrypted meaning when they are being copied, so they will be copied using the same keys, the keys that are sitting here. So for now, we're not enabling that because we haven't enabled encryption at the moment. So I'm going to save that. And here it's not letting me. So it's saying replication requires versioning. Okay, so versioning is important. Yes, I forgot that. Within when you have when you create replication, versioning is important. So a replication requires versioning to be enabled on the source bucket. Enable object versioning on the bucket to continue. So yes, so versioning is required. Sorry about that. I forgot, and all I need to do is save. So here it's saying versioning is enabled on the destination. Oh, okay. So on the both of them, it is required. And now save. So now replication rule is created. So we have one replication rule here. And so what we can do in order to test that out, we can go back to our buckets and let's see if anything is there. Now, what happens is when you create a new replication rule, it doesn't apply to existing objects. It will apply to all the new objects. So in order to see that, what we can do, we can go back to the bucket where we enable replication, and we can add some more objects here. So I'm going to add few objects, which is, let's say, this object and upload. So here, sometime it will take immediately it is replicated, and sometime it would take maybe 5-10 minutes before it is replicated. So now in here, so we'll check back on this because this is the object where it needs to replicate, and we can check that out. We can come back and check that out later. So replication is enabled on this. So replication is enabled for only this object, which is this one, and we will check that out later on. Okay, so so far what we have seen in the management, we have seen lifecycle management rule. We also seen this. There is an inventory rule. To create the inventory rule on the bucket, generate flat file list of the objects and metadata. So this is just for indexing purposes. Let's say you have a huge bucket and it's like thousands and thousands of files, and you want to have an index file so that easily retrievable. Your data can be fast. The retrieval can be fast. You can create inventory configuration, but again, this will be charged. So whatever we are doing, this will be charged. So lifecycle management rule, replication, any extra service will be charged by this. But inventory configuration is just for keeping an index. Now, what is the main purpose of an index? What is the main purpose of the index in a book? So in a book, most of the time, you can just look at the page number. You can directly jump onto that page, and you can easily you can easily jump onto where you're reading from or you want to read from. So indexing. So this will create just a inventory configuration, extra information within the S3 bucket. Okay, so before we can go on, let's jump back to the slide, and we'll wait for this. Let me check here. Maybe it is copied. Yes, so it is copied here. It just took few minutes, and here we have the file. Now, if now one more thing that we need to check with the replication. The replication is successful. One more thing that so this is remember that this is sitting in two different regions. This is one region. This is the other region. Now, if I go back into my bucket. If I go back into my bucket here and delete that file, let's say if I delete the file, so if I delete the file in replication, it won't delete the other file. Let's try that, because you have to delete it. You have to delete the file separately in both the buckets. So here you're about to delete an object. So it is just confirming. So object is deleted. Object is deleted. Okay, here, and we can check that out in few minutes. That if the file, if the object is deleted from the other bucket. So here it won't be deleted. You'll have to delete that manually. So it is still here. We can check that out. Maybe, because they are keep on making changes. So maybe they might have added this feature. I mean, we have to delete on the other region manually. Okay, so let's jump on to our slides here, and let's see a few other things that we need to remember. So so what have we learned in S3? In S3, and Glacier is still part of S3. Glacier, guys, Glacier used to be a separate service before, and now Glacier is part of S3. So it is considered as a S3 service. So mainly there are 4 pricing tiers. So one is S3, one is intelligent tiering, and one is standard infrequently accessed, and one zone IA. So these are 4 type of tiers, and these 2 tiers are part of the first tier. So you can move them under. So when you select them, you will be able to use these services. Now, if your question might be, what is the most frequently used type of tier? What is the standard type of tier that is used in all of the organizations? So what I've seen nowadays, most of the companies are using intelligent tiering. Now, how do you change the tier of this of any bucket? So it's really easy. You can change it by life cycle, or you can go into the properties and change the tier from there. Let's see. How do you change the tier, and how do you know what tier of data is this? So I am in this bucket here. If I can go here, this is a standard tier. So this one is a standard tier. If I need to change this, I need to select this. No, this is the file. But if I go to the properties of the bucket, I think it should be here somewhere where we can change the, because this portal is this is really new and they changed it a lot. So maybe in some regions the previous portal is still in use. So okay, so I'll continue with the slide. So I'll leave it for you. So if you can, any one of you can find out where can you change the tier. I know it's right here somewhere, but I don't remember it. But so let's see if you can find that out. So in okay. So right here, guys, so there are different tiering. Now, Glacier, let's talk about a bit about Glacier. It's very cheap, but used for archival only. It will take 3 to 5 hours to restore from Glacier. So sometimes, as I said, based on real life experience, sometimes it is really fast and sometimes it will take 3 to 5 hours of retrieval time. So make use of appropriate storage classes. Amazon S3 reduces redundancy up to 70% saving, great for everything that is easy to respond. And Glacier is same durability as S3, and it is 3 to 5 hours of restore time, up to 67% cost saving on this, and great for archiving a long-term backup and cold or old data storage. By definition, Amazon Glacier is a secure, durable, extremely low-cost cloud storage service for data archiving, long-term backup. The price is 0.004. It is really, really cheap per month, per gig. And so that's and the standard time is 3 to 5 hours. Expedited time can be 1 to 5 minutes. I mean, sometimes it is really very fast depending on which region are you in and how busy the region is. And you can do a bulk restore. It can go up to 5 to 12 hours as well, since it is a cheaper storage. So sometimes there can be some delays as well in retrieving that data. Now, there is another concept that is known as transfer acceleration. Transfer acceleration by definition is, and the icon is this. So guys, icons are important to for S3. So this is actually S3 icon here. So there is a transfer acceleration. So Amazon S3 transfer acceleration enables fast, easy, and secure transfer to the file over long distance between your clients and S3 buckets, and transfer acceleration takes advantage. Now, so in this, this is feature in which you can find out that how fast your data can transfer from one region to another. So transfer acceleration, that how fast you can transfer data from one place to another. So what you can do, let's say we just have 2 buckets in 2 different regions, Ohio region and North Virginia region. If you need to see that transfer acceleration, you can go into right here. So let me open this. We can go into properties. So this is which bucket? This is Ohio bucket. No, this is this bucket, and transfer acceleration is right here. So it is disabled by default. Use accelerated endpoints for the fast data transfer. And if I go to this image here, so normally in the real environment we use a link which can show us, which can give us the speed comparison tool. So yes, this one. So let's say if I need to see that, if I need to keep my data in Ohio region or maybe in another region, so what will be the transfer speed? So I can go to this link here and I'll copy this link. in the chat window so that you can try that out as well. And you don't need to remember this link. What happens is that it just gives you what is the transfer rate between your region. So within the region, the transfer is very good. So if you're copying within the region, it will be this, and in a short while it will calculate all these. Where it says pending, it will show you if you transfer between your region to San Francisco, what will be the speed and all that. So it gives you all these speeds. So if you enable transfer, if you enable that transfer acceleration, then this is automatically handled, but this will be charged as well. So transfer enables the fast and easy secure transfer to the files from one EC2 bucket to another EC2 bucket. And so this is the link where you can see that how long will it take, and it will show you this report on this one here. So this speed checks uses multiplied uploads to the transfer of the file and the browser. So my point here is that in the real environment, if you need to provide a report on the use of so definitely you need to calculate when you're copying a file from one region to another. And why would you need to calculate? In our class, I just selected Ohio region just so that it was the second option. That's why I selected. But now in the real environment, guys, money is everything. Money is everything, because if you select a region, let's say a China from UK, you're selecting that other region to keep your bucket just for backup purposes, and it's China region. And so first of all, it will be costly. Second of all, it will be slow. So for that reason, it is very important to plan and design in the beginning. So for that, here, when you go to the help file, you don't have to go anywhere. I mean, if you could have just Googled this, it will take you here, and it will give you different pricing as well, and it will give you a test as well. So everything is calculated in the real environment. We need to make sure what is the cheapest way of doing anything, because here everything is pay as you go. Everything is pay as you go. So once we select anything, so here you can see that standard will be this. So first 50 terabytes will be discharged. Second, 450 terabytes will be discharged. And here you have intelligent tiering, which automatically moves between the frequently accessed and infrequently accessed. And so it keeps on moving the data based on the use of data within. So here you can see different pricing models here. So by definition, it is, yes.
Adnan,
Yes, please go ahead.
one clarification I got to do is, so this price was for the storage, right?
This price is for the use of the storage, yes.
And then in the Glacier or some other area, like one time, the retrieval price is different.
A retrieval price is different, yes. And storing price is different, and retrieval price is different, yes. So when you retrieve, yes, so there will be, so this is the price that we are talking about, S3 pricing. So total pricing incorporates storage price, which drops with the volume. So if you have a less number of files, it will drop with the volume of per GBs. And the request, how many times the object is accessed, that is also charged. And then the storage management with a very low, unless massive objects of volume. So this is the storage management, the lifecycle management, data transfer, outbound data, network traffic, and transfer acceleration, approximately 2 into the data transfer price. So whatever is the data transfer price, normal price, it will be twice the price of normal, because you're using acceleration. So you're not just going through a normal route. It is just giving you maybe a fiber link in the back end so that you can transfer your data fast from one region to another. So these are different pricing. Now, do you need to remember all this? Do you need to remember that S3 will be priced by storage request and storage management, data transfer? Guys, in the billing, when you see the billing, you will see that exactly in different, so where you are charged, you will see exactly where you are being charged for some service. So you don't need to remember that, but for interview purposes, yes, you do. You can say, they might ask that how is S3 charged? S3 is charged based on the storage, number one. You can read and write, it will be charged. I mean, I remember for myself that when I buy a USB drive, I just pay one time and I start using it. But in here, everything is pay as you go. So you get a USB drive, you connect it to your laptop, so that transfer will be charged, read and write will be charged, and also saving on the USB drive will be charged. So maybe that is just for remembering purposes. Now for the exam tips, you can remember that S3 is a core part of the, which is S3 is a core part of the exam. So one thing to remember, guys, from this, from these all services, you don't need to remember all the services here for the exam or for being an associate or being a cloud admin. What I meant by all these services. No one is an expert of all these services because they keep on adding services. But S3 is one of those service that is part of this exam. EC2 is that service, so EFS, and I'll keep on adding that within the training as well, that what will be required for this exam. So here for S3, these are the things that we need to remember. Okay, so number one, S3 is a core part of Solutions Architect Associate exam. Number two, S3 offers object level storage. We need to remember that. Number next. Okay, is there a number next? Object size is 0 to 5 TB. Unlimited. It is unlimited storage. Files are stored in the bucket, and S3 is a flat bucket namespace, which is flat bucket namespace, meaning that it has to be unique. It has to be unique, and also URL must be the name of the URL will be the region and your account and the folder. Okay, and storage classes, there are these different storage classes available: highly durable class, and so immediate availability, frequently accessed. Then you have IA, which is infrequent access. Then you have reduced redundancy, and you have Glacier. So these are different things, and we have already created S3 bucket. So lifecycle management, we have already created a lifecycle management rule, but here just for understanding purposes, lifecycle management is used for object often have a predictable usage pattern, heavy, infrequent, rarely or never. Lifecycle management aligns use permanent to S3 to Glacier service offering, and it automates service offering, reduce cost of object, and no charges for the life cycle management. So no charges for the rule, but there are charges for where you access the storage. So Human is asking when we can share the dumps of the question, dumps of the AWS exam. Okay, so Human, just leave a message here, and I think Amin Bhai will share with you the dump. So in the group, just in the group, and I'll remind him as well. Okay, so Majbin is saying the dumps are already in the file. Okay, thank you, Majbin. So lifecycle management, we did S3 replication as well. And here lifecycle management exam tips are lifecycle management aligns object to the pattern to S3 and Glacier, and it can support versioning, both current and previous objects versions. And you can move data from the IA to Glacier or to Expire as well. So here, this is the expiration, and Glacier archive 30 days after IA. So expiry must be 90 days. So expiry, you can delete the object at least 90 days or 91, greater than 91 days. So these are just for remembering for the exam. So here, create a new bucket in the convenient. So here I just made this to basically you can, so you already did that lab. You created a bucket, you uploaded a file, and you saw that in the browser. And let's see what is the time. If we have a time for a class activity, we have 1 hour. So we can do a class activity right after these few important things. So now we need to discuss S3, Glacier, and CloudFront. Now we have seen S3, we have seen Glacier. What is a CloudFront? CloudFront is used to reduce object retrieval time. So CloudFront, which is a content delivery network, CDN, and CDN is basically it's a content delivery network in a system. Okay, so let's understand that first, what that is. So CDN, which is Content Delivery Network, what this does. So, okay, so let's recap what we know, what we have learned so far. So far, everyone, today we are learning S3. And so today we are learning S3. And how many things do we know about S3? So S3, and even before S3, we learned different storage types within AWS. So storage. So guys, when I am reviewing, I would suggest that you review with me, maybe on a blank page. Just start writing whatever I'm writing. So Shakil asked the question, CDN equivalent to the Azure, what I forgot. It's called CDN within Azure as well. It's a content delivery network here, and but it's CDN, but it's a little bit different. The terminology is a little bit different. It's the same thing. So guys, I'm reviewing what we have covered so far. So I would suggest that if you can take a blank page and just write whatever I'm writing here. So storage types. Storage types, number one, S3 and EBS. And we have Glacier. And here we have EFS. So this is where we started from. And S3 and Glacier are both object type storage, and EBS are block type storage. Okay. And within EBS, we also learned that EBS is an internal storage. So this is EBS is an internal storage, whereas S3 is external storage. External storage. Glacier is archival storage. So this is archival storage. EFS is shared drive within EC2 instances. This is just a shared drive within EC2 instances. So EC2 instances, it will be VM1. I would call that VM1, VM2, and it is connected right here. So if you can remember that in that mind map type of structure, storage is mainly S3 and EBS. It's a block level storage. It's internal disk, and EFS, which is shared drive within VMs. This will be easier. This will be a lot easier for you to remember in the interviews and even when you use it as well. So we have S3 and S3 as Glacier, and now the newly added type of Glacier is Deep Archive. So Glacier comes in two different versions, Glacier and Deep Archive. Deep Archive as well. Now, and then now let's talk about S3. So S3, everything that is stored in S3 is in the bucket. So the first thing that we need to remember is a bucket. And once you create a bucket, it's public access is, so bucket is just a folder. So bucket is just a folder, and what can you do in the bucket? You can store objects. And what are the objects? Objects are files, objects are photos, objects are anything that you stored within the folder. So S3 bucket folder, and you can store objects, and also you can do versioning. You can also do lifecycle management rules. Within S3, also we need to remember that there are pricing tiers. Pricing tiers is standard, then IA, then actually intelligent tier. So this is, I will call that intelligent. And then we have IA multi-zone. And then we have IA, which is one zone. So this is one zone. I'm just typing that. I'm just writing that. If you can write that in, I mean, in this form or in the notes, please share with me your picture as well, the notes picture. Guys, this will help a lot. So you're writing that for yourself, and all you need to do within the week, just explain this to somebody else. Whoever you want to explain it to, give them this knowledge, and you will master it. You will never forget this. So just explain it to, teach it to somebody else exactly the same way. So you can remember all this. This is all in our mind. And as soon as the word EFS comes next time, trust me, when you teach it to someone and when you say the word and when you listen to the word EFS, automatically this complete mind map will be again visible in your brain. And this is what we call it. This is in the back of my mind somewhere. So we need to keep that at back of our mind, closer to our standard type of. So here if I say standard or most frequently accessed tier, because the cloud technology is here to stay. Cloud technology will only grow. It will grow like 400 times in the next 5 to 10 years. So whatever you see now, still the governments are not in cloud. Only the private, and 50% of the private companies throughout the world are in cloud. Very soon, all the governments will be in the cloud as well. So there will be lot and lot requirement for this. And if you can remember this, this will be excellent. So pricing tiers are standard, intelligent, infrequently accessed multi-zone, infrequently accessed one zone. And then you also have Glacier. You also have Glacier. And so here, I'm just going to write here, Glacier and Deep Archive. So Glacier and Deep Archive. So these are different pricing tiers. Now, since we now know a lot about S3 and different storages type within AWS, let's now understand content delivery network. So now we are about to understand content delivery network. Content delivery network is really easy to understand. So let's say we have a website. We have a simple website. Now that website is stored in our North Virginia region within either S3. So in S3, we can have a static website. In S3, we can have a static website. So in S3, how do you create a static website? In S3, we can create a static website. All you need to do is create a bucket. And in that bucket, place your HTML file. HTML files. What is HTML files? HTML files is make up your website. So all the websites are made up of HTML files. Now HTML files are static website, but there are other files that make up a dynamic website. So in S3, you can make it a website. So in order to make a website inside S3, all you need to do, create a bucket, number one. Number two is place the HTML file. And number three, access the ARN. ARN meaning the Amazon resource name or the name of this bucket, and your website is ready. That's how easy it is in S3. Let's say you're accessing that website either on this. So what are we trying to understand, guys? We are trying to understand CDN. I need your attention for a few more minutes, and then we can try that in the lab. So CDN is basically, CDN is this. Let's say we have a website, and this website is all available in North Virginia region. So this is North Virginia region. So this website is available in North Virginia region. And now you have customers, you have end user accessing this website from US and from the same region. So when you're accessing from the same region, it will be fast. The website will be fast, and the website will be fast. And now in order to, so the website will be fast for these users because they are in the same region. What if now you start getting user from UK and start accessing it? So from UK, are you accessing your website? People from China, they are accessing their the same website, and they are getting slow response. So they are getting slow response. Why? Because the website is only hosted in North Virginia region, which is far, far away from China. And it's not far from UK, but it's far from away from China or maybe Middle East. So in order to fix that, what we can do, we can use CDN locations. We can use CloudFront for this. So main is that we can create a CloudFront. And this is known as CloudFront. So CloudFront basically make a CDN for us. So what we can do in China region, we can create a CloudFront service. So right here, I can say that this is a CloudFront service. CloudFront service, what it does, it will make sure this website is cached inside here in China region. So there will be a copy of this website right here. And so that the next time when somebody is accessing this, he will be accessing it from the local location. So so when they access it from the local location, it's exactly the same website, and so they will be accessing it just like people who are accessing locally the website. And same thing, we can create another CDN in UK region as well, so there will be a copy of exactly same website sitting in both of the regions. And whenever there is a change in the website, there will be change in the local region so that they can access it. So the main purpose of content delivery network, based on this quick understanding, let's now read the definition. A content delivery network is a system of distributed servers that delivers pages, other web content to users based on a geographical region of users and the origin of web pages and the content delivery server. What? Uh, it's so complex. Guys, in very simple, and I know this is understandable, but I think that it should have been more simpler than this. So I mean, this is CDN makes it the website access in a fast pace, even for the users who are sitting in different regions. Okay. Now CloudFront description. So CloudFront is that service in which we can enable CDN. So here Amazon CloudFront is a web service that speeds up the distribution. Yes, this looks simple. So here distribution of the static and dynamic web content to end users. So it will make it distribution speeds up. Why? Because now the content is sitting right in the same region where they are. CloudFront delivers your content through the worldwide network of edge locations. When an end user requests the content, then you're serving with CloudFront, the user is routed to the edge location. So there are multiple edge locations for CloudFront, for AWS, and those edge locations will be used within this site. So here, so let's see if what are the edge locations? What are the edge locations? So in order to do that, I need to change this to AWS edge locations. So edge locations are basically, so this is CloudFront edge locations. So edge locations are right here. If you can see that there are edge locations. So there is region, there is number of availability zones, and it's not showing the edge locations here. Right here. So this is edge location. So here, this is in blue, you can see the edge locations. So in blue, if you can see the edge location, there are many, many different edge locations. Now, edge locations are the places where you can enable CloudFront location, where you can enable the CloudFront service. So you can see that if your website is hosted in North America, you can be enabled in here in Europe, in Australia, right here, and it can be on this side as well. And I don't know that how old this is. There is one in Middle East here on this side as well. So there are some edge locations, and edge locations are available, and they are adding edge locations, every other month. And if I can change this to AWS website. So the edge location will be a website. A user is accessing a website, and it goes to the edge location, and edge location will get the new object in here, and the object will be accessed right from here. So user is sitting here, and wherever your bucket is from the edge location, user will get the website. So basically, it's just to make it faster, the website access. So I'll just put that in the just for the notes. I'll just keep that here. Okay, so CloudFront is a web service that speeds up the distribution. So CloudFront and CDN is exactly the same thing for interview purposes. Edge location is part of a data center. So we remember that data center, there can be multiple data centers in one availability zone. So edge location is considered as where you can cache information. So not all of the cloud, not all of the data centers have edge locations, as we can see in the picture. Some only the locations that that are enabled with edge location, those are edge locations. So CloudFront. So overview use case for this is placing content nearest to the user to improve the response time. Terminology is origin, distribution, edge location. Content is stored at the edge location, which are different than the AWS region and availability zone. So this is the same question that you asked, that edge location is different from data center, but they are part of the data center. So not necessarily all data centers are edge locations. Edge locations are only those edge locations which are represented in the diagram. So those places are edge locations. So here we have cloud origin. So cloud origins are S3, EC2, load balancer, Route 53, external servers. So they can all be part of the cloud front. You can have an EC2 instance sitting in the edge location, and so that people can access it in a fast, in a speedy, which speeds up the access to the EC2 instance. You can place that as well. User access to the content comes to the nearest edge location. And here we have different edge locations here. So edge locations and multi-part edge locations. So these are different edge locations that here you can see in some places there are multiple edge locations, and some places there are less edge locations. So, okay. So now let's quickly have a look at it in the lab. So in the lab, if we need to enable a cloud front location, let's say we have a bucket that we need to enable a cloud front location, which is right here. So we have how many buckets? We have so many buckets here, but cloud front location is something that we need to enable. So if let's first go into one of the buckets here and go into the management. CloudFront is a different service. I'm just looking for something else here, and I'm wondering where they've moved the static website from this. Because it was part of the management. In order to host a website, it was part of the management of any bucket. So here I can see the rules. Here I can see this inventory and strange. So static website. You can also static website on EC2 instance, web pages, and it should be static website, how to host a static website. It should be right here. Within the bucket, you can search for services, S3. We are in the S3. We are in the storage.
And then go to properties.
Okay, in the properties. Yes, that was I was looking for. So you go to properties. Where?
Now here you will see the static website under the properties.
You're seeing a static website in the properties?
Scroll down and you will see it there.
Okay. I'm scrolling down. Okay, it's right here. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's right here, and we can enable this static website option. So when you enable a static website option, all you need to do is to provide your index HTML page. Now, what is an index HTML page? It's just a text file. Let's see if I can create one and upload that in the bucket. Now, index HTML page, all the websites will be basically accessed. All the website, they automatically start from index page or maybe a default HTML page. So what we need to do, we need to create a text file and have something written in that file, but the name of the file should be index.html. So in order to do that, all I need to do is to open downloads here, and let's see if I can go to my S3 folder, and I can create a new file and name it index.html. So name of the file is this, and I can go into the file and type this is my website. And here, if you know HTML language, you can also use some headers. Now, the only reason is that we name it HTML because it can run the HTML commands. If you don't use this type of commands, I mean, you can get this a complete, a very, very simple website from the internet as well, and then download it here as well. And in the video, I will give you more details in the lab video for this so that you can see a professional website. But here I just wrote one sentence. This is my website, and I just gave it a heading. So this is heading 1. I think this will be H1 and H1. Okay. And I'm going to save this and now upload this file. Now specify the home or the default page. HTML. So here I just need to provide the file name, and I'm not sure if this is error.html. This is again a text file with this name, and you need to just type in, I think, let me try to create this without, yes, I do need this file. So for this one, I'll just create another file with this name. So now static website is enabled in this bucket. But now the second thing that I need to do, I need to upload these two objects within this. I need to upload these two objects in this, and I will go into upload. And when uploading the file, what I can do, since I'm here, I can just copy this file here and rename this. So I'm just doing that here. You can do that. So we have two files, error and index. And at the same time, what I can do, I can make some changes. Now this file is only used, let's say, if the website, if index file is not available, or if there is any error, so this file will be shown. So most of the time when you go to different websites and some link is not working, then you would normally see an error file. So I'm going to upload both of these files here. So both of the files is right here. So they are uploaded, and now we can check and see that if this is working. So let's copy this from here and open this. Okay, so I need to remove that. Sorry. I should have copied that from right there. So, okay, so, oh, I need to change that extension. So this is still a text file that is uploaded. I still need to change that. Going to the properties. Where is it going? So for that, I'm still going back here. And so in order to do this, I need to enable extensions. And so I'm just enabling extensions here. And so that I can change the extension to just HTML. So here I'm just gonna hide extensions. So it will show me the full file name. And from here, all I need to do is remove this. So it's saying you need to change the extension. Yes, I did. And this is changed. And also I need to change this extension because this will make it true web page. So the name should be index.html. So now, as you can see, we gave that. Okay, so I still need to fix the spelling, and Shakil didn't reminded me that there is a spelling mistake. Okay, there you go. So it is, since it was H1 heading, and we can see that these two files are there. Now what we need to do is we need to first, so here I need to re-upload the files. So, or I can re-upload the files. If I can upload the file, it will be new files because these are different files. Let's try that. I can delete these files and upload, but let's say in this case, we'll just upload the two files. So here now this should be, and this is actually the paths that we need. So it is pending and they are uploaded, and let's try that now.
So did we make it like public? I think we might have to make this bucket as public.
We didn't. Yes. So let's go to, and you can try that on your side as well. Let's see. So if I can go directly here and make these objects public. So this is public now. Okay. So this is error file. This was the error file. Yes. So this is fine. And the second one is this index file. And all we need to do, make it public. And we need to access that with just this name. So if we can access that even with this, so if I delete this and just use the bucket name, which is like this, the bucket name and the complete, it should work as well. So here it is giving access denied. The document is shown below, though we did made it public. So with the name it's working, and with the website name. Okay, so we can fix that out, but the most important thing at the moment is CloudFront. So website is working. We made sure that the index page is working, error page is working. Now let's create a CDN location. So in order to create a CDN location, in order to create a CDN location, what we need to do, we need to go to CloudFront service. So remember that CloudFront service will give us a nearby close location wherever will upload these files to that location. So in order to do that, what we need to do is go to the CloudFront. So it's not in the bucket. Our bucket is ready, website is ready. And all we need to do is go to services and go down to networking. So in networking, there is something called CloudFront, and CloudFront is basically global content delivery network. So this is CDN location. When we go into the CloudFront here, so here in the CloudFront, once you are here, you won't have anything. So you can create your own distribution. So distribution meaning that you want to create a distribution point where you can have a copy of your website. So here, once you create a distribution point, this is two types of distribution point that you can create. Remember that we are creating a delivery CDN location so that people in UK can access that site in a fast manner. So for that, we are creating a CloudFront location. And in the CloudFront, the very first thing what we are doing is creating a distribution. So here, once you come in a CloudFront location, here you need to do CloudFront distribution and you need to create a new distribution. When you create a new distribution, it will give you two types of distribution. So is it HTML pages? So it's saying here HTML, PHP. These are all the website, different type of pages. You store your files in an origin, either in S3 bucket or the web server. So here, I can start with web type of distribution, or you can go with RTMP. RTMP is especially for the streaming content. So if you have a videos, here it says that you can create a RTMP distribution to speed up the distribution of your streaming media files and Adobe Acrobat media files. So this is specially for media file. You can create this CloudFront location, CDN location from streaming files, media files, whereas just for a website, you can create a web distribution point. And in this, all you need to do is to select which bucket is that you need to be available in another place in CloudFront location. So here we know that this is 6th November. This is our bucket where we need to place. Here you can provide a different path for this. So if you can provide request for the content of the delivery bucket, custom origin and enter and directory name. So if there is any special directory name inside the bucket, you can provide that path as well. So let's say you want to, so it's not on the root folder, it's somewhere inside. So you can provide that path that this is inside finance folder or maybe website one and all that. And then you have all these other options. There are so many options here, but the best way to try the CloudFront location, I mean, these options are based on your company requirement. So if you have different company policies that needs to be applied on this, you can apply that. The question is, do you need to remember all this? So what I would say, this depends on that where and how you're applying the CloudFront location. So in a very simple application, you can just go with overall settings. So here, most of the things we need to keep them in default. So for example, origin connection attempts 3, origin connection timeout attempts is 10, which is that if it fails, then it should error out. Otherwise it keeps on trying to connect to the origin location. Now, what is origin location? Origin location, remember that your website is sitting in Virginia. You're trying to access that in Ohio or maybe in Europe. So these are those connection attempts with the origin location. Here you have cache behavior. What type of files are these? HTTP or HTTPS or redirect HTTP or just HTTPS? And then there are some more questions about, is it a get command, or it is a head command, or is a get head option command, or is it a put, post, patch, delete? Now, these are all the questions for the developers who are for the developers of the website. So most of the time they will be sitting with you. they will be providing you all this information because they are the one they are the one who created the website, and they know the best answer to these. Now, since I was a web developer long time back, so I know all this information. If you don't know this information, that's fine. That is not, I mean, this, you will be getting that information from the developers who are sitting with you. So why the developer? You might think that what is the purpose of developer working on this? Guys, this request is started based on their request. So developer came to you saying that, my website is not accessible in UK. When people are in UK, they are getting a slow response. They are getting a very slow response. So in answer to that query, you're creating a CloudFront location. So for that reason, you need to ask them all these questions: cache policy, origin request policy, and smooth streaming, and all that. So for example, this is one of the policies here: restrict viewer access, which is use signed URL and signed cookie. So basically, let's say this is the option where you can, let's say if your website is selling something, then here you can click yes, and in this it says that only those users with the signed cookies, or maybe only those users who are logged into your website, will be able to access this location. Let's say your website is free. Netflix, let's say Netflix has different versions in different part of the world. In Canada, they stream different videos. In US, they stream different videos. Middle East, they stream different videos. You can check that out by having a VPN connection, and then if you have a VPN connection from Canada, you can access different videos and all that. But now I think Netflix have even blocked that access. So I mean, here you can have that saying, if you click it no, so it means that there is no restriction. The website will be available as it is available in the same location. So anyways, so here, if you go down here, this is all related to the website. You will be working with them, and they will be providing all that information. So far what I did, I just created a distribution location, and I just provided a name of the bucket that I need to be available in the CloudFront location, and nothing else is selected. So here, this is distribution setting, mostly HTML, and all I need to do is create. So when you create a website, when you create a CloudFront location, guys, it will take anywhere from 15 minutes to half an hour. So once this is ready, then you will be able to access this this CloudFront location. So once this is ready, once it says enabled, then you will be able to see the content and see where it is. So we'll just leave it as is, and then we'll check that out in 15 minutes. So, but cloud front location, and you have just provided this location for another edge location. Once it is done, then you will see that how it is working. And same goes for deleting. If you need to delete this, first you need to disable it and then delete it. You cannot delete it just like that. Disabling will take 15 to 20 minutes because it is being created elsewhere on the in another region or in another edge site. So for that, this bucket will be available. So we'll wait for that amount of time. So any questions?
So Adnan, just as an example, I have a website with like 50 different files. So do I need to move all of them in the cloud, or only the index file moving to the CloudWatch?
Oh, everything, the complete website.
Complete website I have
yes,
to.
the complete
Okay.
website. The index file will only make sure that the website is starting from that index file.
Yeah, but index file I can make. Why they give the option for the creating the index size where I can make index size individually? So if I have index file, then I can upload just only simple the file. I don't have to follow their tagging. Is it?
No, actually the reason, so your question is why do we have that option of typing the index.html, right?
No, I have an index file in my website.
Right.
So why I need to create an index file to following their tagging, like their head or something?
Okay, yes. So the reason is that some websites have their website not starting with an index file. They might need to start it with a different name. So if
Okay.
that is a different file name, then you need to write that name in the index.html.
Okay.
So instead of index.html, you will write that other name so that it knows that it starts from there.
So same, like I have a website in Virginia, like with the 50 different files. And if I run another same site, copying like Middle East, I have to move all this file to that bucket, right?
So first of all, yes, you need to move all the files into the bucket for smooth operation. It can be done, you know. So everyone, the question here is, let's say you have a website in, so you're saying website on a physical network or in another region?
No, it's like Virginia region.
Okay, same in the Virginia region. Same in the Virginia region, guys. The question here is, what was the question? Sorry, and I lost my slide.
Okay,
Yes,
okay,
so
I have a website
right.
in Virginia
Mm-hmm.
region, and I want to launch the same website from the Middle East for the Middle East people. So do I need to move all the 50 files from my website, or I need to move only the index file?
Yes, that's a very good question. So let's say North Virginia region. So this is North Virginia region, and here you have your complete website. So it has, let's say, 50 files of your website, and people are happily accessing this website right from here. Now, now all of the website, let's say a big website can be of 100 pages or 100 different files. So what happens in CDN will cache only those files that are being accessed in that location. So for example, in China region, everybody is accessing first the index file. So everybody goes to the main page, and from the main page, they are looking at some products in your file that are for sale. So when they click on one product, it opens that one file. So what CDN does, only that file will be copied right here, and all the depending file will be copied here. So not the complete website. So this is a work of CDN. We don't do that. All we need to do is to create a CloudFront location. As soon as we create a CloudFront location and the person sitting in China accesses your main page, that page will be indexed in here in the CDN location. So it has that file and the depending file, whatever files are being opened. Now we know that when we open a google.com, it opens, it's not just that one web page. It is all the images that comes on that web page, and it has all the links that comes onto the web page. But that google.com has only few, maybe 5 or 10 files depending on that. So this is what happens in CDN. When somebody accesses something, that file and depending files will be copied, not the complete website. Okay, and
Okay.
and what happens is, let's say now the next user in the same region is accessing the same website, so it won't be copied again. If it is exactly the same version, that second user opens the same index page. But as soon as this person goes to the second product number 2, and access this, and this file is not available here, so then CDN will request that file, and that file will be present copied here, and then user will be accessed. So the first user will get a slow response because it is being copied to a CDN, but the next user after that will get a speedy response because now the files are here. So it's a very good question. Do we have to make sure the website is here? No, it is just that CDN will automatically manage this. Whatever files are required in China, whatever files are required in UK, those files are being cached here, not all the complete website.
So it is a permanent cache, like, okay, user 1, he downloaded one file, one product he buy, product number 1 he buy today. So tomorrow the other user try to buy the same product, it will be caching. I'm like, the
Yes,
cache is permanent?
It's a permanent cache.
Okay.
I mean, you can clean that up, but it's a permanent cache. It's once it is cached, it's right there. And plus, if let's say the original file is changed in this location, this will be notified to CDN as well. So that will be updated, and that will be provided to the user.
That's it.
Okay, it's a very good question, and it's an interview question as well. How does CDN work? When you enable CloudFront, do you have to kind of copy all of the files, or it manages automatic? Guys, CDN and CloudFront manages that automatically, because you want to save the bandwidth as well. You don't want to copy the complete 100 MB of your website, or maybe 100 files every time when it is updated to the CDN location. No, only those files that are being used will be used. Guys, in terms of the security and encryption, there are two things in AWS for S3, which is bucket policies are private and accessible only to the account owners. And there are two types of security. There is ACL, which is a user level access. Then there is bucket policy, that is granular access. Now, ACL, which is bucket level access, it is so full access is given to the owner and the other accounts with the access. So ACL involves do you want to make the object public or not? So remember, when you create an object in the bucket and you try to access it, it gives us access denied. And when we go back and make it public, then that means that we made changes to the ACL, and now this file is public. So this is what ACL is. But what is bucket policy? Bucket policy goes down in deep, goes down and it goes to each object level. So in bucket policies, you can click on the file, and this person will have only read access to the file, and this person can make changes to the file. So read access. So this type of access is also done from the bucket policy level. Other than the ACL, which is overall permissions, and here it is fine grained control, bucket policies, granular access. Here you can even get down to even single permission, and I will show you in the lab as well. So these two permissions can be set, and also you can enable logging and notification within this. Now, in terms of security of the for interview purposes and for discussion purposes, encryption, you need to understand, we all need to understand encryption. Encryption is this: bucket number 1 and bucket number 2. So there are two types of encryptions in all the real organizations. So I'm talking about the real environment. In the real environment, you need to provide security at rest. So there is something called at rest and in transition. And this is exactly what it defines. So in transit means when the data is traveling from one bucket to another, or maybe one bucket to your physical network, or wherever you're copying it. So physical data center. So this is physical data center, wherever you're copying it. This is known as in transit. In transit, we can apply two types of encryption. Number one, SSL, which is secure socket layer, and TLS, which is this encryption, and turned on for the object by default. So this is by default, it is turned on. Whereas at rest, at rest, when the object is sitting in the bucket, and in AWS services, there are three types of encryptions available. Number one, SSE3, which is S3. Number two, SSE KMS, and SSE customer managed. So this is all about encryption and encryption. So what is an encryption, guys? Encryption, remember that when we created a EC2 instance, and at the end, it provided us a key to download. Remember, it provided us key to download, and that key is considered as a private key. Now that key, you cannot use even Windows instance or Linux instance without this key. Remember when you created and you create that key, right? So when you create that key, and when next time when you're trying to access that instance, there is a public key on the AWS side, and the one that you have, this key, these both key needs to match, and then you will be able to log into the EC2 instance. So this is basically this server side encryption. S3, by default, it is by managed keys. All the keys are managed inside AWS cloud. You can also use AWS key management service and use envelope for retrieving private key. You can also use key management service to store all the keys in the cloud, or you can also use customer keys. Your organization can have their own private keys and use them with this service. So essentially, this bucket can be protected with 3 different types of keys. Number 1, a single key. Number 2, a key that is managed inside KMS service. We will learn KMS service in security chapter. And number 3, a key that is provided by your customer. So your customer is providing, so this is your organization key that you use specially for your services. So 3 types of keys can be used to encrypt information inside a bucket. And the client side encryption and decryption handled by the client, and S3 sees only encrypted objects. So this is what I said in the beginning, that everything in the bucket is protected. But here, once the data is copied here within your physical data center, you need to protect that. So client side encryption is not there. So this is where it's saying that it is handled by the client. So if you lost something here and it is compromised something, so what is the key used for? Key is used for, let's say, a hacker or maybe another admin who has access to the bucket tries to open the file. So and another admin can access the bucket, but he cannot access the file because it is encrypted with your key. So with your access key. So this is internal hacking. If anyone, other people from outside the cloud, they cannot even get into the cloud. So they won't even get into the cloud. But if the same file is copied here in physical, let's say this is a text file. Remember the index text file that we created, or those pictures. As soon as you copy that in the physical network, they are unencrypted. They are open files. So when they are in the physical network, anyone can access them, anyone can copy them from one place to another. So guys, from this slide, what have we learned? From this slide, we have learned that there are 2 types of encryption that we need to worry about. One is in-transit encryption. And according to this, now this in transit, this is all encrypted. So from the bucket to physical data center, this is all encrypted. For interview purposes, we need to remember that this is all encrypted as well. And this is all encrypted with what? SSL certificate. What is SSL certificate? If you don't know SSL certificate, this is fine. I just know actually I've implemented SSL as well. But if you don't know SSL is something that protects this complete link. Have you ever used SSL in your real environment? Yes, you do. Every day when you log into your bank website, it is protected with SSL. So you're at home, you're going into your bank account and you're moving money here and there, making transactions. This, when you connect to your TD Bank or Bank of America or any bank, this is all protected with SSL. This is why hackers cannot get into this link. So this is what SSL is. And this is same type of encryption that AWS provides you when you connect from your bucket to your physical data center. So it's saying, so interview question is, in transit, how do you protect your information? In transit, the data is protected with SSL. So just keep in mind, the way you connect to your banking website is exactly protected with your S3 account. So let's see that where you can just see that if it is protected with SSL. So I'm gonna go to here, and right here it says HTTPS. Guys, whenever it says HTTPS, it means that it is protected with SSL. And how do you know it is SSL? You can click on the lock here, and then you can, on the lock, you can go to certificate. And within certificate, here it says that this is a certificate information, and the certificate is issued to Amazon service. And if you go to the details here, certificate paths, right here, it is protected with SHA 256 type of encryption. And I'm just trying to find a SSL word for you, but I think it should be here somewhere. But this is what is known as SSL. SSL means secure socket layer. So the interview question is, how do you protect the data inside SSL? So all you need to do is, you don't have to do anything. By default, it is protected with SSL encryption in transit. So what about at rest? So at rest, in the bucket, all the files are encrypted. Nobody can hack into them. And here, you can, so on the physical data center, they are not encrypted. So this is the responsibility of the client to make sure that it is all protected. So Ashish is saying press F11. Yes, pressing F11 on a website will give you the code, the HTML and everything, but it won't show you the certificate type, but that is SSL. So just like a banking website. Guys, we have also discussed about transfer acceleration. Transfer acceleration, what it does, it speeds up the transfer acceleration, but this will be charged by, and we know where to go and enable transfer acceleration. So CloudFront, we already implemented CloudFront. We'll check that out in a moment. And for the exam tips here, what we need to know about S3 is that object-based and object-based access, the file size is 0 to 5 terabytes, unlimited storage per account here, and it's a flat access. So next one, designed for this availability, data consistency, cross-region replication. So this is what we just implemented between two regions. This is known as cross-region implementation, which is S3 cross. It is also known as S3 cross. It automated, fast, reliable service. Only replicates new ports and once EC S3. Okay. So let's jump back to, so mostly this is all covered. So we have CloudFront distribution is covered. And how much time do we have? We have 15 minutes. So guys, in 15 minutes, let's create. So I'm gonna just check the CloudFront location. Let's actually quickly go here. Here we can see the distribution ID is here. The ARN is right here. It's a web method and this is enabled. So origin groups. Here the create an origin group. So origin group is right here. And error pages, restrictions, individual. Origin group is right here. You can make changes to this. This is all good. So, okay. So in the meantime, everyone, let's create a new bucket. To create a new bucket and enable. So enable lifecycle management role. Before finishing this, please create a new bucket and enable lifecycle management rule with 30 days and 60 days for IA and Glacier. So let's quickly do that lab before we can finish this. Noshin is asking a question. Can we get the recording tonight for today, please? Yes, we can. So since this is a 4 hours recording, it just takes like 2-3 hours to process and then it will be. So once it is done, I'll just immediately upload this.
And a quick thing, the CloudFront looks like the developers work doing the cloud admin. Is it?
Sorry, one more. Can you repeat your question?
The CloudFront works. Looks like it's like developers work.
Yes. So CloudFront is mostly, our responsibility is to make it available and then rest of the things they have to do.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So rest of the things they have to do. So everyone just create a bucket and share a WhatsApp picture before we can leave in the last 9 minutes. Let's make use of this. So I want you to create a new bucket and create a new bucket with the lifecycle management rule and then share a picture in WhatsApp. And also let me see that our so from here, guys, there are some complex labs as well in this. So we have 12 and I will be adding more labs to this. It is very, very important that, guys, since we are spending time. So we are spending time, we're spending money. So I want this to be on our fingertips at the end of this training. So there will be a custom lab, but you please go through all these trainings, and next time, by next week, complete all of them. So the important ones, the difficult one will be the auto scaling lab, the Bastion host lab, and then there is this CLI, AWS CLI lab as well. And I will be adding more labs to this. So please, I mean, these are just 10 minutes and 15 minutes labs. Please finish them, and next time, by next time. So create a lab, create a new bucket, create a lifecycle management rule, and please share before leaving. We have 8 minutes to go. So in the meantime, I'll just delete what I've created. So in order to delete them, I need to make them empty. So in order to make them empty, you can go into each bucket and delete them, delete the files, or you can just click on empty. So this can empty the bucket and then delete it. So, and it is important to delete the file before, I mean, as soon as possible, you're done. Otherwise, this will be, there might be something that can be charged. So one bucket is empty, and then I can delete it. So first I need to empty the bucket and delete. Okay, Atif, excellent. Thank you so much. Good night. And please remember to complete the videos as well. So once the bucket is empty, we can just delete.
And then what do you say the bucket name will be? It is a unique name, right?
So bucket name?
Is it unique for?
Yes, yes, it has to be unique. Yes. Okay, so buckets are deleted. I'm going to go to EC2 instances and see that if I can. So EC2 instance is running. So terminate. And what else do I need to delete? So I can go to oh wow, a snapshot is sitting here for a long time. So it's deleted instances. Volumes.
Adnan, is there any way to find out what are the things that we need to delete instead of checking manually? Is the kind of listing somewhere?
Uh, it's not in AWS at the moment. You need to kind of remember that which places you have done. So most of the time in the main dashboard. So this is EC2 dashboard. I can see there are 4 key pairs and security. And S3, you need to go into the S3 dashboard. So,
Mm,
but in
thank you.
Azure, you have that option. In Azure, you can see everything in the same dashboard. Okay, Shakil, thank you for sharing the lifecycle management rule. Guys, if you're done, you can just share the picture here. Okay, Majbin is asking, I was charged $1.535 when I created the account, and this month 2.75, 2.27. I don't have any resources in my account. Any idea? You can go into the billing and see that what are you charged for. So if you go to the billing, and it will show you that what are you, so normally it does come down to even cents. It would show you that what are you charged against. So right here it shows me that I was charged for these, and I did forgot to uh, delete some resources, so that's why there are some charges and cost explorer. So mostly here you can find that what are you being charged for, and you can email them as well. Okay, so I'm looking at your image, Shakil, that you're saying that if this is, so the name is 30, 60, and 90. Yes, this is exactly what we are looking for. Yes, you're moving it from IA to one zone and to Glacier. Excellent. Very good. Okay, thank you everyone. This is all for tonight. So have a good night and we'll see you tomorrow. Inshallah.